Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here. It's Wow Wednesday, and I'm wowing about something that's crazy good. That's really, really awesome. Now, the Raptors will have two Hall of Famers on the NBA on NBC telecast that's going to start next season. The NBA is going back to NBC. And this crew is amazing. Oh my gosh, this may be one of the greatest TV crews ever assembled. In some ways, this crew is bona fide because these are top level players in the sport of basketball, guys that did it at the very top of the league. Like, well, you start with the GOAT. Michael Jordan is involved in this broadcast crew for NBC starting next year as a special contributor. You got our guy VC, retired Raptor Hall of Famer Vince Carter is already on this crew for NBC. And as of yesterday, they've announced that his cousin, Tracy McGrady, will be joining the panel also. Yeah, it's amazing. The list of people that NBC is gathering for this. Some people say Amazon's getting a good group too. No. Not compared to NBC. I can already tell NBC's ready to come back and be the number one broadcaster of the NBA. They were way back then. They were probably the most iconic NBA broadcast ever in the history of the NBA because they did it for 10 years during the Jordan years, and they were really, really the best at showcasing the man himself, Michael Jordan, and his great and excellent period. And not only that, you got a former NBC, well, not former NBC, but former analyst for TNT, Reggie Miller, who's going to be doing NBC games also, who was a big, huge part of the tie-in on the NBA on NBC broadcast. Reggie Miller was a big part of that as a player. Vince Carter had his amazing 50-point game against Phoenix Suns, the first ever time the Raptors appeared on NBA on NBC, one of the few times we did because that contract went away after that. But the Raptors appeared that Sunday. Vince dropped 50, and that's actually the day I met Tracy McGrady because I went to that game in 2000. And it was amazing to see Tracy McGrady and meet him after that. Now he's going to be on NBC himself. The crew's amazing. You know, Vince is probably going to do games. He's one of the best right now. And I'm overjoyed that Vince Carter is once again going to be doing games for the Raptors here on Sportsnet with Alvin Williams and Matt Devlin. That's a fantastic trio that was very, very enjoyable and entertaining for Raptors fans last year. And, well, Vince is coming back, and he's going to do Sportsnet games along with his NBC duties up there. Now, Vince is one of the more accomplished announcers on this crew with the NBA on NBC. He's actually done a lot of games as color, but a lot of these guys have not. Jordan, obviously, has never done a game color commentary next to play-by-play. Tracy McGrady really hasn't either. Carmelo Anthony, no. I look at the roster of guys that NBC's got. Jamal Crawford also. I'll go list them, actually. I have the whole list of who they've been using. They're going to use. It's very, very interesting. They got Grant Hill. They've got Jamal Crawford. They've got Austin Rivers, which I don't understand. Derek Fisher, Brian Scalabrine, and Brad Doherty. And then also Carmelo Anthony, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady. And they're saying that Carmelo, Vince, and Tracy, and Michael will be full-time studio analysts. That's interesting. Austin Rivers and Brian Scalabrine will also make occasional appearances in studio as well. Yeah, Jordan will be a special contributor. So I don't know. It could be as simple as Jordan's just going to do the intro, and he'll be in the beginning, and that's it. I mean, I'd love for him to sit down next to Vince and Tracy and Carmelo and Grant and talk basketball with them. I wonder if Jordan's personality would be good for that, though, because he's so competitive. Would it be weird if they're sitting there and Michael Jordan just starts arguing with Vince Carter all of a sudden, saying, "You're stupid, Vince. You don't understand what you're talking about, Vince. I'm sorry." You know, I mean, I can see these kind of situations because Michael Jordan's not really a media personality. He's kind of just Michael Jordan. What would it be like? Like, seriously, is he going to get? I mean, I like what Tracy said yesterday I saw an interview with Tracy about him joining this team, and he's saying this is what matters to him. He remembers when he was a kid watching the NBA on NBC, the excitement that you get just from hearing the music and getting to the TV on Sunday afternoons to watch the afternoon games for NBA on NBC, where just like kids would come from outside playing and run back in the house in the middle of the day just to watch the NBA on NBC. And McGrady was going on about that as a kid, like in the 90s, doing that and that phenomenon. And he's like, I love that excitement as a fan. I love that, like, you know what? We're kids. We could be on bikes outside riding around, but no, we can't miss the NBA on NBC at 1 o'clock. We got to get it back in the house and get ready to watch Michael Jordan and the Bulls play whoever they're going to play on a Sunday. So McGrady and Vince and some of these guys like Carmelo, they get the whole attractiveness and the mystique and the amazingness of the NBA on NBC and what it means. And that's important because they want to honor that legacy as the next generation of it. And in some ways, they want to get that old feel back because they feel the nostalgia for it, just like the fans do. Tracy went on about this. He's like, man, I don't feel like they've been covering basketball right lately. And I'm like, ooh, preach it. Tracy McGrady, tell them, seriously, too much talking about extra stuff and not basketball. Whoa, Tracy. Whoa, hit another one out the park. Hit it right out. Blue Jays are kicking ass. That's right. And I was like, Tracy said, we're going to talk about the game. We're going to talk about the game and the players and what's going on in the game. And we're not going to talk about all this extra stupid shit. And we're not going to be talking about each other. That's the thing. Tracy said, he's like, no, there's not going to be this senseless arguing between Kendrick Perkins and Stephen A. Smith. There's not going to be the bullying of Shaq on Charles Barkley. No, these guys are coming in as professionals, and they're going to come in and they are going to respect each other, first of all, is the feeling I'm getting. Because honestly, this crew is very respectful. Grant Hill is a classy person, a very, very classy person. Michael Jordan's a GOAT. Jamal Crawford is a very respected NBA veteran and former player. You know, they can be big grown-up people and sit on that panel and talk about basketball without degenerating in arguments and personal attacks on each other and stupid shit. Now, McGrady's saying we're going to get back to covering basketball, educating the public, talking about the game, talking about X's and O's, talking about the matchups, talking about what's going on the court and how the game is flowing and going. And I think that this is music to my ears as a longtime NBA fan who has been sick of the NBA product under ESPN, ABC, Disney. It has been horrible. You guys have sewered the damn product and made it worse and worse with the dumbass people that you got working for you covering it the way they do. And I think that NBC is going to come in and they're going to bring back a rejuvenation, a spirit. It is going to be more attractive to watch NBA again. People are going to see Michael Jordan. People are going to see Vince Carter. And they're going to be like, yeah, I remember this. This is amazing. I love it. You know, Reggie Miller, he's done many games in color also. He's very much savvy like Vince Carter. So I could see Reggie Miller and Vince Carter, if NBC wanted them to, going into the booth and doing color commentary with the play-by-play like Noah Eagle, who's going to be their play-by-play announcer. Noah Eagle and Mike Tirico are going to be the two main play-by-play announcers. Mike Tirico will be the main guy for NBC, and then Noah Eagle will be the second guy in the depth chart. And so you'll see, you know, maybe Mike Tirico matched up with Reggie Miller. Right, Mike Tirico, Reggie Miller, NBA on NBC. Welcome to the game. We have the Bulls versus the Magic today. And yeah, what do you think, Reggie? Mike, I think today's going to be really a good game. It's going to be determined at the three-point line a bit here. I can see the matchups and the things that could happen with the possibilities of the crew that NBC has. And I'm just like, man, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. I mean, seriously, I have so much respect for most of these guys. Jamal Crawford is a really, really underrated analyst. Like, if you've seen him in the groups, when he's ever in those groups, he's very soft-spoken, but very intelligent. He really, really gets across points, and he's no bullshit, which is what I like about him. Jay Craw, you've been amazing as an analyst, and the fact that you're on this crew shows that you're bona fide, because this is the creme de la creme. I'm telling you right now, maybe people think Reggie Miller's annoying. Maybe you hate him because you didn't like him as a player, but it's undoubtedly true that Reggie Miller is one of the better announcers for the NBA in the last 25 years. Some people will not agree with me, and they think, oh, Reggie's full of shit. He's kind of corny. He's kind of goofy. No, Reggie knows what he's talking about. And Reggie's done a good job for the most part. He's been very fair, very, very fair as an announcer. Grant Hill, class act, the son of Calvin Hill, the former NFL player. Grant Hill has always been class. And it's crazy because these guys kind of have a lot in common. It's weird. You got Grant, you got Vince, you got Michael, you got Tracy, you got Carmelo. Those 5 guys are just top-notch scorers, offensive juggernauts in this league. And as Carmelo and Tracy said in an interview recently, they know what it takes to score in this league and how hard it is. And in some ways, these youngsters that run around the league right now a little sensitive. They don't like people talking bad about them. They don't want critiques. They don't want people to be telling them, oh, this is what they're doing wrong. This is what Zion did wrong. This is what Ben Simmons did wrong. They don't want, you get sensitive? Sensitive. Well, if you're going to get critiqued, you might as well get critiqued by Michael Jordan. You might as well get critiqued by Carmelo Anthony. You might as well get critiqued by Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Grant Hill, Reggie Miller, guys that did this shit at the highest level in the NBA. That's who you should get. I would hope that Scotty Barnes would listen to Vince Carter when he's doing the Sportsnet telecast with Alvin Williams and Matt Devlin and say, oh, Vince thinks I should do this. Vince thinks I should do this. Yeah, do it, Scotty. Listen to Vince. Listen to Vince. Listen to Michael. Listen to Reggie. Listen to Tracy. Listen to Carmelo. New generation of NBA stars, SGA, and all the rest of y'all. These guys are going to be great for y'all. They may put you on notice. They may call you out. But they're doing it because it's in their heart the right way. They're coming at you like Siskel and Ebert as true critics, people with the best intentions. Constructive criticism is to teach, to get better. And whenever Siskel and Ebert sat in those chairs and did thumbs up and thumbs down, they were always coming with information to help the person see where they went wrong or fix it. They weren't just bashing people or putting them down with no good justice to why they're doing it. No, there's a lot of people out there that think they're critics, but honestly, they just want to bash things. They're not helpful. These guys are going to be helpful to the new generation of the NBA because they know what the fuck they're talking about, and nobody would dispute that. You want to tell me Michael Jordan don't know what the fuck he's talking about when he talks about the NBA? You cannot say that. You cannot say that. That's right. Another thing I really love about McGrady joining the crew, I have a big feeling that Vince got him in there. First of all, cousin go look out for a cousin. And Tracy's like, you know what? This might be fun, Vince. This might be fun, Vince. If I could come and join you and Michael, that would be fun. Yeah, Tracy. I don't know. Let me call Dick Ebersol or whoever the fuck is there right now. Yeah, see what's up. Tracy's in. Boom, you're in, Tracy. Scoring title champion, great Raptor, a Hall of Famer. And we got 2 of them on there. The cousins from Florida, Vince and Tracy. Maybe at times pariahs in Raptors lore, but still Raptors and former Raptors. And at this point, valued alumni that are in good standing, respected standing, Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady. Tracy McGrady comes back and does a McGrady Dick commercial for Gillette. We see, well, Tracy's involved with the Raptors still. He loves the Raptors. He's going to talk about them still. So I'm hoping that we'll have 2 guys on the NBA on NBC that will give us a fair shake on the U.S. side of the border in the telecasts. Now, Vince and Tracy, I'm going to tell you guys right now, it may be there's some proclivity in the U.S. media to diss the Raptors, overlook them, maybe not even give them a fair shake, maybe put them down for no reason. You guys, you don't have to do that because you know what? You guys could look brilliant. You guys could look smart. You guys could look ahead of the curve. You know, Vegas odds ain't giving Raptors very good odds. I go to ESPN this morning, they're saying that we are the what do they rank us? They got the power rankings out this morning. Of course, you know it's bullshit. It's always bullshit, these power rankings. They came out with the first one for the offseason. They're saying that the Raptors are. We're 24th in the league out of 30 teams. We're 24th out of the league in 30 teams. I'm going to say this right now. Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, if you give a fair shake to the Toronto Raptors on the NBA on NBC, you're going to look smart in the future. Yeah, you can go ahead and even say, yeah, we're a little bit of homers. Yeah, we may be a little impartial being playing our rookie years for the Raptors and being part of the Raptors history, McGrady and Carter. But I'm telling y'all, stand for us. on the U.S. side of the border. Stand for our nation. Stand for our franchise. Stand for the city of Toronto and the Raptors and the country of Canada. Stand for Scotty Barnes. Stand for Darko Rajakovic. Vince, you have seen the Raptors up close this past year in Sportsnet broadcasts with Matt Devlin and Alvin Williams. You can see what our potential is in our young core and our young bench and different people coming up. So go ahead and tell the United States the truth when you get on that broadcast and the Raptors are involved. If you ever bring up the Raptors, I want to hear y'all pump them up and tell the damn truth. Tell the damn truth about Brandon Ingram. Tell the damn truth about the coach that you've seen down there, Rajakovic, and how good he is, and Scotty Barnes and how he can grow. RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, Jakob Pearl. Tell the truth. Tracy McGrady and Vince Carter about the Raptors on the American airwaves on NBC, and do it, and you will look good for it. Trust me. You will look good for it. You'll look good just like Kendrick Perkins looking good right now saying the Raptors are making the playoffs this year. Because I'm just saying, y'all can be ahead of the curve. Y'all know a little bit more about us up here because you come and check on us. Vince has been checking on us. Tracy, you have all the reason in the world not to diss us. Why? Make us look good. Give us a fair shake. Maybe Carmelo says something out of pocket about the Raptors real quick. Set him straight is what I would say to him. That's right. That's right. I want y'all standing for us up there because you know what? You guys are franchise legends. You guys are franchise icons. You guys are Hall of Famers for the Toronto Raptors also. Vince, you're a Hall of Famer for the Raptors for sure. And Tracy, you can embrace that side of your career still too if you want. You can, that's for sure. So I'd say I love having two Raptors legends as two of the main people. They're going to be covering things on NBA on NBC coming up real quick. Vince, the respect is there if you want it. I respect you at this point for coming to Sportsnet and for coming correct and being healthy and healing with us. I love this so much. I love these kind of redemptive stories where things were at odds and we were in bad place and we fixed it. We fixed it, Vince. And let's keep going that way because I'll be disappointed if you show up on NBC and you start talking down the Raptors to the American audience when you get on NBC. I'd be very, very disappointed if you did that, Vince. But it's a beautiful thing. The reconciliation, the coming together back with Vince Carter and the Raptors family of alumni. Man, I love it so much. This is an amazing crew. Seriously, listen to that list. Michael Jordan, Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, Jamal Crawford, Carmelo Anthony. Woo! That's a badass crew. And there's no disputing. These guys seem like they're going to be all business. No fluff, no crap. They're going to be talking basketball and they're going to be informing people. And people are going to eat it up because it's Vince, it's Michael, it's Tracy, it's Carmelo. And I'm all about it, man. I'm all about it. I've looked at Amazon's crew and I'm like, this is a joke compared to NBA on NBC. TNT's crew is amazing. Charles Barkley will always be a legend. Shaq, Charles, Ernie, Kenny. That's the greatest group ever. But this NBC group is going to be very good, guys. Trust me. This NBC group is going to be very, very good. And the latest edition of Tracy McGrady just keeps it going that direction. You know how smart Tracy is. Tracy's such an interesting person in the Raptors history. He came to our team so young. He was one of the youngest players in the history of the NBA at that time. And he really was so young and immature in a lot of ways. He admits it. He slept a lot. Boy, did he sleep a lot when he got to Toronto. And we fumbled in some ways with him because we didn't have our organization right yet. MLSE was kind of run by Petty and it was kind of bullshit. And, well, we didn't take care of our rookies the way we do now. We didn't take care of all kinds of things for them in some ways. Like it was kind of made us look bad, honestly, not picking people up from the airport, not doing this, not doing that. I blame more the hockey-centric MLSE under Richard Petty for dropping the ball with people like Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady and how they were handled early on as rookies and people that came to the NBA. But, yeah, Tracy, this is going to be a beautiful thing, man. And, you had your regrets about leaving your cousin and what you left on the table possibly in Toronto as a duo and what you could have done. But, of course, that wasn't something that the NBA allowed was superstar teams. It wasn't until Boston and Miami did it later, 10 years later, that was more allowed. But, yeah, McGrady, Carter, awesome. This is a fantastic thing. And, well, there's my spiel on the new hire, Tracy McGrady joining his cousin, Vince Carter, as one of the panelists for the NBA on NBC. Wow. Yeah, thank you, John Tesh. That's right. John Tesh of Entertainment Tonight fame. Thank you for your song. Trevor J is first in the chat today. Thank you for your words of wisdom, Trevor J. Never complain about difficulties. Life, God always gives the hardest roles to the best actors. Wow. I like that. That's a pretty deep one. It's like, yeah, life is what gets thrown at you. Sometimes the trials and tribulations are to make you stronger. Sometimes the trials and tribulations are to make you a better person, a better place, a better thing, everything. You know, that's what I'm saying. Trials and tribulations. This world's got them. This world's got them. And we've got to meet them. We've got to meet them with an effort and an energy to beat them. And we will. We got to trust in God. We may not have all the answers today, but when the time comes down the road, we will find them as the day comes. And that's the thing. Trevor J's not talking about faith in God just in today. Faith in God for the rest of your life, because God's got you in unforeseen ways ahead of time for you. That's right. That's right. Never complain about the difficulties in life. There are the trials and tests that are put in front of you to be a better person. And you can pass those tests if you do it in a Christ-like way and honoring God. How about that? Thank you for the words of wisdom, Commissioner Trevor J., Commissioner of Fun of the Raptor Freak channel. That's right. Good morning to the super fan, Monique Lawrence, the greatest. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. This doesn't surprise me at all because, of course, T-Mac would join Vince Carter. Cousins do a lot of things together. Happy for T-Mac. It's a fantastic thing. I mean, Tracy's done little dabbles in broadcast here and there. You see him on an ESPN panel sometimes. He'll be like on Jacoby and Jalen or some shit. Or, you know, he just pops up every once in a while wearing glasses and kind of looking astute and talking his talk. And he's always been very well-spoken. As I said, Tracy McGrady is a very, very smart guy. And I'm appreciative of him throwing his hat into this. And I think that part of it is they want this synergy. They want this synergy of like, wow, we're going to have Vince and Michael. Will they sit together? And will they be able to talk and balance off each other? And, you know, you put McGrady in there. Well, McGrady and Vince, they have a lot of history. They're cousins. Could there be some really fun kind of interaction where they're like having a blast, like Shaq and Kenny and Charles? You know, it's like they want to probably get that kind of energy on this, but to a degree of fun, but not taken away from it all. They want to stay on point with the point is we're talking basketball. But at the same time, if there's a little bit of back and forth between cousins, maybe a little reminiscing about memories together, that's going to add to the broadcast. That kind of familiarity and the ability to kind of cut up with each other, just like Shaq and Chuck. So I think that that's part of the reason why they hired McGrady, is because he may be part of unlocking Vince to a degree. And who knows, like it could be very interesting to hear Tracy McGrady talk with Michael Jordan. Like, would there ever be any points in time where these different guys are arguing or disputing what they see? And maybe there's egos that get involved or something like that. We know Michael Jordan's an extremely competitive person. And I think it would be kind of weird to see him possibly on a panel in debate with one of these other guys where he's kind of stubborn and he's like being cutthroat like he is, and he won't let the issue die. He will just argue it and maybe get a little crisp, like a little crispy about it, like a little angry about it. Who knows? I'm trying to imagine what Michael Jordan is going to do for NBC right now. Is it just going to be that he smiles at the end and he says NBA on NBC and he's smiling and it's like, yeah, Jordan. I mean, that's what I thought at first, but they're saying he's going to be a special contributor. What does that mean, NBC? Is he going to be sitting in the studio with Vince and Tracy? Because, that would be amazing if you guys got that. That would be so amazing because we want to hear Michael break things down. We want to hear Michael's brain and how it thinks when it sees the new game, the young guys. And it sounds like McGrady's not giving this young generation a pass. If y'all are coming incorrect, if y'all don't have the Rosen code, McGrady's going to fucking skewer you, is what it sounds like. Because that's like, look, they seen the younger generation and they know some of y'all are imposters. Some of y'all just came to get the bag and you're sitting out since. And they're going to call y'all out. I have a feeling. Oh, yeah, they're going to call it out. And in some ways, Shaq calling out Rudy Gobert recently is a symptom of this. Maybe these older generation guys are like, fuck this. Y'all are taking a product that we built up and made more successful. Wow, we were in charge. Michael Jordan built this league into what it is. This league blew up. Magic and Larry were a big part in the beginning, but Michael's the one who, he was the Hulk Hogan. that blew up basketball. And in some ways, you know, they could look at the time of LeBron and say, well, what the fuck did you do in your era, LeBron, for bettering the sport and making it more attractive to people in some ways? Some people say, well, he did great. What are you talking about? It's LeBron. Some people say, yeah, this is the lazy generation. This is the generation that went half-assed to the basket and didn't go fall out like Michael Jordan's generation did. So, I mean, could Michael Jordan, Tracy McGrady, Vince Carter, Grant Hill be sitting there saying, yeah, these guys are lazy. These guys are not playing to the level of basketball that I would like to see if I was going to respect them. I mean, seriously, it's all wide open as far as what these guys could be saying in their broadcast, because they have the ability to critique all of this because they've done it. They are the top. They are the best. They are people that are proven, and they've done these things. They've done what they're going to tell these guys what they're doing wrong. So they have absolute authority to and license to critique the current NBA players. Oh yeah, that NBC crew is very, very, very achieved. And then in some ways it's like, yeah, well, it's Vince, bro. It's Vince talking about you, man. You got to listen to him. I'm sorry. That's Jamal Crawford. You don't know about Jamal Crawford? You don't know what he did in his NBA career? Yeah, you should listen to him. You should listen to him, Zion Williamson. You know, it's going to be really interesting to see, because I feel like they're listening to what we're saying about the problem with the NBA and its broadcast. That they're listening, and they're just like, wow, people don't like this and this about the NBA anymore. Can we come back and as NBC, and can we fill that void? Can we bring something back that's going to be more attractive and build again and garner a bigger audience over time again? Because it's hitting like that, like the NBA on NBC used to. That's right. Yeah, Trevor J saying WNBA wins. Golden State Valkyries beat Atlanta Dream, and Washington beat the Chicago Sky. The Aces beat the Sparks also. There was an incident last night at one of the WNBA games. It was the Atlanta game with Golden State Valkyries. Somebody threw a green dildo on the court. It's very strange, man. Just like in the middle of the game, somebody launched a dildo into the middle of center court in the middle of the WNBA game. It's like, what is this? And it's a green dildo. So everybody's making jokes this morning that it's Shrek's dick. Oh, somebody threw Shrek's dick on the WNBA court last night. I know. Y'all should be laughing. It is ridiculous and silly. It's stupid. It's funny. So checking in on our WNBA for today. Let's see. Do we have our referees yet? Come on, post them. Why do you not post them in time? All right, well, we'll go ahead and check on our fantasy league. Trucker Kaz is beating me as of last night. He's got a 30-point lead. I'm coming for you, Kaz. This is going to be a dogfight right up until the end. I will not let you beat me this time. I got to beat Kaz. Also, we got Kareem beating Edmond right now. Fiercey's almost doubled up James right now. MK is got a good lead over JP. And Cool Cat is beating Mike, Logical Raptors Fanatic right now. Checking in on our WNBA Fantasy League. Get your matchups and your lineup set up. The action is happening right now. The action is hot and heavy, and the dildos are flying. That's right. There you go. Boom goes the dynamite. Trevor J saying the NBA will host 6 regular season games in Europe over the next 3 years. Games to come in Berlin and London, 2026, Manchester and Paris, and then in 2027, Berlin and Paris. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, so that next year is Berlin and London, then Manchester and Paris, and then Berlin and Paris. Very, very cool. The international game of the NBA, they're still testing that market over in Europe. I would say this once again, Adam Silver, don't try and build an NBA Europe. That's not what you should do. The idea that Mark Cuban has is the right idea, is a global tournament using the tournament champions of the EuroLeague and the NBA and the BAL and all the major leagues in the continents around the world, make a world championship tournament where you take the NBA champion and you play the EuroLeague champion, you play the BAL champion, you play the champion from the Asia region, Australia League champion. You get 8 teams from 8 regions, and you make a single elimination tournament. And that is how we determine the biggest. And you can call it a World Cup, just like soccer's World Cup for the NBA and the basketball world and the FIBA. And that's the best thing you should do. You should not try to establish franchises in Europe, because you're going to be butting into the territories of the EuroLeague teams. And the people over there are not pro-America right now. This is not the time to do this. Trump is fucking up the world, and y'all standing in the world. People are very anti-American. A lot of people are not buying American products. So read the room, Adam Silver, and do not proceed with your NBA Europe plan. It's a really, really bad idea. Just trust me. I can see this. Just like Vince McMahon, you're going to fuck up and you're going to lose a lot of money, like XFL kind of shit, So I'm just saying, you don't want to do this. Trust me. In some ways, Mark Cuban's plan to incorporate and try and get different champions from around established leagues around the globe is much smarter. And you can have a huge profitable tournament, just like the World Cup, and have people come from around the globe for it, and you'll get your jollies and you'll get your international exposures too. Now, some of the reason they may not want to do this is if the NBA doesn't win this championship, they're going to look at it like the U.S. in Olympic basketball. The USA just needs to dominate so that they can continue the storyline that America and the NBA is just the top league in the world. Now, if somebody did beat the NBA champion in this tournament, it may look bad and they have more to lose for it. That's part of the reason why Adam Silver is probably not into this idea, because maybe in some ways in the summer, if they play a World Cup championship for basketball, that the NBA team may not be fully revved up because they've had vacation since their championship and they come in there. But, you're the professionals. They need to go in there and do what they do in that situation and try and win it. But yeah, I think that that's the right idea. It's not to build a new league. You guys would be doing a really dumb thing and you lose money. And it's not like if you come in with NBA Europe that people are going to go crazy for it. No, they'll be loyal to their teams they have existing now, and they will shun the NBA and Europe. And you can blame Trump for part of this. You can blame him for part of this reason why. Yeah. Interesting stuff. But there's my 2 cents on it. All right, we got Play It Again Sue in here. Y'all, check out Sue. Sue has a music reaction YouTube channel that has grown immensely in the last couple of years. I'm so proud of Sue. Sue has been an original Raptor freak who's been following my channel since the very beginning. She's like one of the top 5 original. She was like one of the 5 first people that subscribed to my channel. And well, Sue was inspired and she made her own YouTube channel. It's been blowing up since. So check out Play It Again Sue. She's very prolific with her output. She's constantly putting out videos every day, and they're fantastic. And I love the variety of different kinds of videos you've been doing, Sue. You've been doing more current stuff recently. You've also been going way back and doing all kinds of different genres and different stuff. I watch Play It Again Sue almost daily, guys. I'm always watching her clips and just enjoying them. So y'all, I can't recommend enough. Play It Again Sue YouTube channel, Raptor Freak channel. You'll see her wearing Raptor shirts on the show all the time. She's supporting our team, and she's a real one. So, y'all, I love Sue. Thank you, Sue, for being here this morning. She's saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. This seems on brand. Those two are tight. I think it's just a smart synergy pairing. Tracy with Vince. It's been going to be great. I mean, Alvin and Vince have been awesome in our broadcast, right? Alvin Williams has got a character to himself now. He's not the shy Alvin who's just trying to do the job professionally in the beginning when he first started at Sportsnet on the crew with Matt Devlin. He's comfortable now, and he can be a little bit more of his professor alter ego. That's the thing where he wears the glasses and he has the collar and he calls himself the professor sometimes, Alvin Williams. Well, Alvin, because he's like that with Vince, they're very close. They played together a lot on the Raptors. He can bust Vince's chops a little bit on the broadcast, and I love it. I'm here for it because in some ways, Raptors fans are still kind of like, Vince, you kind of cheesed us. And Alvin in some ways gets back at him on the broadcast with little digs here and there. And it's just kind of like showing that Vince is a very easygoing guy. He has no ego. And that in some ways he's like, yeah, roast me a little bit, Alvin, real quick in the middle of the Raptors broadcast. And you know what? I'm going to show all the Raptors fans and everybody watching, I'm a good guy. And I'm going to let it roll off my back. And I'm not going to get all butt hurt. And in some ways, you're funny, too. Yeah, it's like it was classic last year when Alvin was comparing Vince Carter to referee Mark Davis. He's like, Alvin saw the back of Mark Davis's head and he said, oh, it's Vince. You're over there. You're reffing. No, wait, that's Mark Davis. Sorry. And like Vince Carter started saying, oh, man, Alvin, don't compare me to Mark Davis, man. Him and I did not get along. It's just classic stuff like that. You want that kind of looseness and fun in the broadcast. And, pairing Alvin with Vince was very, very fruitful last year. And Matt Devlin just kind of stays in the middle of it and he kind of keeps things going. But, man, that's the kind of stuff hopefully we'll get with McGrady paired with Vince, for sure. That kind of like just fun, familiarity and comfort. And yeah, I know in some ways you could get away with saying some roasting of the other person if you really know that they got your back and your family and you love each other. And McGrady and Carter are like that. That's right. It's gonna be cool, man. James is here. Good to see Raptor Freak James. Jordan rarely does interviews or anything. I know. That's the weird thing about this. He's an enigma. He's not totally a known quantity in this NBC thing coming up. Like, what the fuck is he gonna do, man? Like, I really hope he gets like encouraged to like broaden his duties for NBA on NBC. You know, seriously, I think that if they find out that he's a huge ratings draw, that they will try and entice him to expand his duties and be more involved on the broadcast. Seriously. I mean, it's money. Michael's always been money. And because he's such an enigma, like James is saying, we have no idea. Like, he barely ever talks or does anything public for years now. And the whole idea that he's a part of this thing coming up, what is he going to do? And how much will we hear his unfiltered opinions? Because I would sit and listen to Michael Jordan talk for an hour about the current state of the NBA. Because I know it would be gold. Seriously, I'm sure he has all kinds of things he would have to say about this generation and the way the game is right now. It would be amazing to hear. James is saying NBC ratings are going to go up. Everyone's going to be tuned in. Yeah, it's going to be like it used to be. That's the thing, man. If you're not going to treat the product correctly, if you're not going to respect the product correctly, ABC/Disney/ESPN, you're going to sewer it like y'all did. And NBC is quality. NBC has got a quality team already. NBC has a quality history, a quality brand already. They're going to step right back into, and it's going to be a home run. If they're able to keep the old feel of the NBA on NBC currently now with this crop of announcers and people they are assembling, it's going to be badass. I'm telling you right now. I hate NBC. I've boycotted NBC for like 15 years now because of Conan O'Brien. I'm not lying, seriously. The Conan O'Brien thing with Jay Leno and Jimmy Fallon pissed me the hell off. Jay Leno fucking up Conan O'Brien being on the Tonight Show made me so mad. Made me so mad. I said, fuck NBC. I'm not watching anymore because they screwed over Conan O'Brien. And I've kept to that for the most part. There's been, an Olympics here on NBC that I watched a bit, but for the most part, I do not watch NBC programming for the most part because I've been fully boycotting them partly because of Conan O'Brien. And I've held to this for 15 years, guys, but I'm going to break it for this because I look at the way that the basketball has been portrayed by ESPN in the last 20 years as such utter crap that I'm ready to be refreshed with the refreshing, amazing return of the NBA on NBC. And this may be the one place where I'll watch NBC still is for basketball. And that's it. That's it. I'm not going to watch NBC still for Conan, but I will make this allowance for this. That's right. It's going to be very interesting. James is saying, Lex, who's in your top 5 list? Is Michael number 1? Oh, yeah. I mean, I grew up in the era of Jordan, and even though I didn't like him when he played, I hated him. I was always anti-Michael when he was playing. I treated him like LeBron, guys. I did not speak him up, but I respected him, and I knew he was the best player in the world. And I still believe that. I mean, there's just certain things about him. If you didn't live during that era, kids, in the 90s, and you didn't see what he was like and how much of a phenomena and how much of a celebrity and just how much he was just everything was gravitating around him as far as his advertisements, as far as the game days, the way that the Bulls were in the playoffs, even though they were probably the favorite to win, it was still fun to watch because it was Jordan and you were going to see something special. And people just don't understand that. And the quality control is another thing. This is the thing. I always make this argument. If you're going to argue with me about LeBron versus Michael, it's about quality over quantity. And there's a quality to Michael in the pureness of what he did in his career, other than Washington, that is just top notch. And in some ways, LeBron is a lot of quantity, a lot of health that he's had for a long, long time. So he's accumulated a lot of stats. But his quality of some of the things he's done, he's lost a lot in the finals. And, he doesn't have the accolades exactly that Michael has. So it's easy to me that I would pick Michael Jordan as the greatest player in the history of the NBA. That's easy to me, James. And I know younger people will be like, come on, it's LeBron. Oh, that's fine. You can go ahead and believe that. But you didn't have the same lifespan as me, and you did not see Michael Jordan at his peak like I did. And I hated him. And I still say he's the greatest player of all time. And the second greatest player is Kobe. I think that in some ways, Kobe Bryant is the second greatest player after him. Seriously. He's got some of the championships. In some ways, his championships were very tough to get. Very, very tough to get. I've come around more on Kobe Bryant in recent years to think, like, you know what? Kobe's actually way more higher on the GOAT list than people should think. They should think. So, and I might not even put LeBron at third either. I might start throwing people like Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and they're ahead of LeBron. Because it's in some ways with LeBron, it's about how much he tried. It's about how much he squeezed out of the orange that he has. There's a lot of leftover juice in there, and there's a lot of stuff that he didn't do exactly right in his career. For me to absolutely think of him as a top-level competitor in the NBA's history, because he dogged it. Let's not get it twisted. This LA stint, other than the championship in 2020, has been an absolute failure. And a player as good as him in this late stage of his career, he shouldn't be being on a team like this. He should have been mentoring young people and kicking some ass and helping them get better. Instead, he's holding young players like Dalton Knecht back. So it's like, I can't respect that. Seriously, what was Michael doing when he was at Washington? He was mentoring Kwame Brown, Jerry Stackhouse, and Gilbert Arenas and the young Wizards. And I don't see LeBron really passing things down to other people. Maybe Austin Reeves a little bit just because he's cool enough. But most of these young guys that are on his team aren't getting better because of him being around. It's just like in wrestling. You could either be a wrestler that gives back to the young generation by losing to them, or you could be like Hogan and say, "Nah, that doesn't go good for me, bro. I can't do that, bro." And then you're like beating the young guy, even though you're old and you should be on your way out and giving back. It's kind of the way I look at it right there. So yeah, I don't even know if LeBron's in my top 5. Let's just put it that way, guys. Yeah, it's disrespectful, isn't it? Trevor's saying NBC is back with a banger, kill all the competition. They're going to be awesome. Amazon Prime, man, I don't even know who your crew is. I've heard a couple of the jabronis that you've hired. The TNT crew is going to go to ESPN now, and they'll replace Draymond and all them. That'll be an improvement too, because we're going to see Shaq and Kenny and Charles take over for the pregame for ESPN. Watch. And they're going to be gone. They're going to be gone. So I hope mostly. Like, I know that maybe they'll only do TNT on Thursday nights like they historically have been. Then maybe they'll have regular ESPN nights. I don't know how they're going to handle it. But the fact that there's a place for the TNT crew on ESPN taking jobs from some of the jabronis that were on ESPN already, that's top notch. That's fantastic. So NBA coverage should get better all around, even on ESPN, partly because they're absorbing the best part of TNT to ESPN as part of the contract. NBC, what I'm hearing here about what they're going to be doing is that they're going to be having Monday night games, guys. They're going to really make a big deal out of Monday night games on Peacock. And they're going to be hosted by Ahmad Rashad. Ahmad Fareed? Wait, is that Ahmad Fareed or Ahmad Rashad? Oh, that's not Ahmad Rashad. Damn it. That's Ahmad Fareed. Anyway, that's no good. I thought that was Ahmad Rashad. That would be better. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they handle the coverage of the NBA on NBC and everything that's going to be going on. They're going to actually use the guy who used to do the NBA on NBC's voice. This is the NBA on NBC. He's passed away, like he died, but they're going to use AI regeneration of his voice. I don't know how I feel about that completely. That they're using the guy who was the voice of the NBA on NBC. He passed in 2017, and they're going to recreate his voice and use it still to this day. I mean, that's a job replaced by AI right there. Like, they should be hiring a young announcer that's flesh and blood and could make that money. No, cutting costs. We're going to go ahead and just use this guy's likeness of his voice, who's passed on from before. And hopefully they're giving some money to his family at least. Like, seriously, you're using his likeness, you're using his voice. You better be paying the family some money too, right? That's what I think about it right there. Yeah, Fiercey's here. Good morning, fam, and happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday to you, Fiercey. Great news about Tracy. Great news about Vince coming back to do more games for Sportsnet with Matt and Alvin too. This is kind of what I'm talking about today. Trevor's saying, hopefully the NBA gives us some games on NBC this season. I don't even know when they're exactly going to start. I think they start this year, right? I'm not totally sure. And also, how does that interact with us being in Canada and TSN and Sportsnet's coverage of the Raptors? I mean, are we going to get the national broadcast of the United States put on up here, hopefully somehow, some way. I would hope so. Either way, we're going to find it. People will find basketball games. They will find them somewhere. That's right. Seymour saying Bleacher Report has us drafting 4th in the next draft. We get no love, no respect from the state side. So don't expect Tracy and Vince to give us the respect we deserve. Don't hold your breath. I don't know, man. I would plead to them this way. I would say it 2 ways. I say y'all will look smart if you put us on blast for being good earlier than everybody else. Like, Seymour, doesn't that make sense? Like, if Tracy and Vince come on there and they actually show respect for the Raptors, it's like, y'all keep saying all this stuff about the Raptors, but honestly, we will actually watch them because we're alumni, and Vince has actually been calling games for them the last couple of years. And honestly, the Raptors are way better than you guys are saying. And what if they do that? Like, Seymour, what if Vince himself goes on there and does that? Because in some ways he can't hide. He has seen us. He can't, if he's spout bullshit acting like he doesn't know what the Raptors are doing, that's bullshit, because he does know what we're doing, because he's come up here and seen us. So it's kind of like it's an opportunity for Vince and Tracy, either one of them, to look good, because they will know the head of the curve that we are coming and that we're going to be way better this year. And that they say it before anybody else, they'll look like they're really good experts. So that's what I would plead to Vince Carter. Don't lie about the Raptors. Be absolutely on point and truthful. If we do have a deficiency and you want to call it out, well, I'll listen to you. Because if you're doing it from a basketball standpoint, like Tracy McGrady has said, where you guys are just speaking it like it is, we're looking at what's happening on the court, and this is what's happening, this is what we see. When you see the Raptors do well, speak it up. When you see the Raptors do bad, go ahead and point it out. We just want a fair shake. We've never, ever wanted y'all to kiss our ass like the Celtics get their ass kicked. We've only wanted a fair shake this whole time. And I believe that if Vince is smart, he will be honest about the Raptors in every kind of way. And if he won't get on there and diss the city, I hope he won't get on there and start talking about how cold it is and stupid shit like that. You know, you're beyond that, Vince. You're Air Canada. You are the guy who made basketball huge in Canada. So respect that legacy and don't shit on it just because you're on the NBA on NBC. And don't think that we're not watching too. Trust me. It may be that broadcast is predominantly showcased in the United States, but trust me, Canadian fans will be watching too, and we hear what y'all say down there. So remember that. That's what I say right there. Yeah, we'll just have to see Seymour. Bleacher Report's never, ever been something for us in any kind of way. Fuck Bleacher Report. I'll say that just in general this morning. That's right. Seymour's saying, glad y'all love Tracy. I don't want to hear excuses either. The man walked from us, so F them both. F Alonzo Mourning, F Dragic. All right, you know what? This is a passionate fan that cares a lot about the Raptors. I'm not mad at him for doing this, because in some ways he has pain still from what they did. And I get it, man. I get it. I will definitely say F Alonzo Mourning. Yeah, 136 on the dunk charts for Seymour. Yeah, I'll say F Dragic. Yeah, but F Bosch. Yeah, we can go ahead and say F Bosch too. But I'm not going to say that to Tracy and Vince, because they've shown they're in good standing. Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady came around and did their alumni last year. They showed up. And in some ways, Tracy has been very open and honest. I forgave Tracy a long time ago. I forgave Vince last year. But Tracy, I forgave after he wrote his book, because he wrote in his book very explicitly that he fucked up when he left the Raptors, and he regrets leaving the Raptors when he did. And he often wonders whether him and Vince could have won championships if he stuck around in Toronto. So Tracy's been very open about he was kind of immature in making his decision so abruptly when he was young to go to Florida and leave the Raptors. And it is what it is. We can't change anything. Like I said, Tracy came in very young, straight out of high school, and he had some learning to do as a young man still. And he's very open about that in that book too. That it's like, look, if I could go back and change things, if I had a more mature, older attitude at that time, maybe I would have made a different decision. And we know we're all been young at some point, Seymour. We made knuckleheaded decisions in our early 20s, right? That's kind of what happened with Tracy, is what he made a knuckleheaded decision in his early 20s that he regrets. And that's why, even though those guys came back as villains and torched us and gleefully were like hearing the booze and like feeding off of them and kicking our ass, I get that. That's what a competitor will do. If you get in the booze and you get that animosity, you got to come back at that energy in full effect and try and beat it. So I can't get mad at them at that, even though those guys were definitely villains. For a long time, those guys were getting the booze from the Toronto fans in Toronto when they come back. Yeah. I don't know, man. In some ways, I get Tracy because I listen to him talk and I'm like, this guy's intelligent. This guy's smart. And well, he's grown as a person over his life. And in retrospective, he can see where he may have wanted to do things differently. I can't get mad at that. The thing with Vince was really just healing things. It was like we're at odds. Obviously, Vince was mad at us after we were mad at him. It was tough for his family to see him get so much hate from the Raptors fans after the trade to New Jersey. And that the healing of all that, it was just so beautiful and special last year in some ways. So honor these things, McGrady and Carter is what I'm saying. Honor these linkages to our franchise and be an advocate for us on the state side. Stand up for us in a place where often we aren't getting stood up for. You guys can do this, and you guys are really good for it. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah, Kareem saying, "Wow, I thought streaking was bad. Imagine throwing a lime green 12-inch with huge girth on the court. Why do you have to describe it so much? Seriously, Kareem, you don't have to put all those descriptors in. The awkwardness of nobody wanting to remove it is what made it worse. Hope that person is banned for life." Man, it seems like you're a little harsh for that. I don't know. It seemed like it came from somebody in the second or third row at courtside. They're right near center court. It looked like it got tossed right behind the back of Agana Bazi. It was weird, man. There's one picture of one of the Dream players like reacting to it. She's like, "Oh," it's so funny. It's like, yeah, what they threw what on the court? Oh, I mean, listen. Once again, I'll say this: all publicity is good publicity because people are gonna be like, "What happened on WMA court?" I mean, some people will be like, "Oh, prim and proper," like, "Oh my gosh, disgusting! What's going on there?" And some people will be like, "That's weird, man." And then maybe they'll like get a little bit of attention because of the dildo get thrown on the court. I don't know. It's a weird thing, man. I'll always remember that Raptors 905 school day game against the Westchester Knicks at the Scotiabank Arena when the kid threw the chocolate bar on the court. And yeah, right in the middle of the court, there's a kid sitting at courtside because it's a school day game, and the kids could sit right up real close, and they're just kids in class. And the kid took his chocolate bar and threw it in the middle of the court in the middle of the G League Raptors 905 game. Eric Curry went over and picked up the chocolate. Oh, that was the funny one too, man. Yeah, we don't want people throwing weird shit on the court. All right, stop doing that, y'all. You don't want to get banned for that. Yeah, no streaking either. Seymour saying next on Canadian Goods, watch TSN and Sportsnet, FNBC and ESPN. Wow, Seymour's going into that level of straight goods on Canadian Goods. I respect that. Seriously. Yeah, I respect that to a degree. I mean, I want to say F you, Ed Rogers and Sportsnet. Yeah, F you, Ed Rogers. F you, Keith Pelly. I love you, Masai. That was for you. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Now, will we get the ESPN or the NBC games through TSN? Like that's kind of how they do it. It's like now back to the game, but it'll be like Brad Fay in the studio, and then it'll go to like the NBC announcers calling the game. That's probably what's going to happen for some nationally televised games that they're going to show up here. That's exactly what's going to happen. I like what you're saying, Seymour, and I like your attitude about Canada first. And let's go ahead and talk about straight goods on Canadian Goods. Today we're talking about cakes. Yeah, cakes. It's a summertime. People's birthdays, people's celebrations are going on, and you might want to get a cake for your activity or your event. And well, a McCain's Deep and Delicious cake is a 10 out of 10 on the Canada score. And that's a great cake, honestly. People love McCain's Deep and Delicious cakes, right? I just said that. That made you like, I want one. Yeah, that's a Canadian-owned company, and they're manufactured in Canada too. 100%, 10 out of 10 score for a dessert cake is McCain's Deep and Delicious, y'all. So buy that. If you want to celebrate, go and get a McCain's Deep and Delicious. You will be supporting Canada if you buy that cake for your party. Don't go to Baskin Robbins and get no ice cream cake from American Baskin Robbins. Fuck that. Don't get no cake from Loblaws. No, I mean, if you can get the McCain's Deep and Delicious from an independent market or a market other than Loblaws, that'd be great too. So yeah, there's your straight goods on Canadian Goods. Cake for your party, McCain's Deep and Delicious. That's right. There you go. James is saying a lot of people are saying Skinny Luca is going to get season MVP. Thoughts? All right. I just looked at the power rankings for ESPN, and they got the Lakers somewhere ridiculous, in my opinion. They got the Lakers really in a ridiculous place. They're going to say we're 24, okay? But they think the Lakers are number 10, guys. That's not mathing. That's not mathing. We're a better team than the Lakers. I know we are. I know we are going to be a better team than the Lakers in this season for record. I know we are. The Lakers are a mess. The Lakers got DeAndre Ayton, and that's really bad. That's a bad sign for them. DeAndre Ayton is a guy who goes from team to team, and he's just bad wherever he is. And, well, it's going to happen for them this year, too. And the confusion with LeBron is going to be a distraction. It's going to be toxic because LeBron doesn't really want to be there. They don't want him to be there either. They're ready to go on to the Luka era. And LeBron's just kind of in the way right now. So there's a lot of toxicness around LeBron himself right now. I like skinny Luka. I think it's hilarious that he finally got off his ass and he got healthy and in shape this offseason, partly because of Nico Harrison and his talking about him being out of shape and not serious. I think that Luka will be better, sure, but I don't think that team's very good overall. So how the fuck is he going to be MVP if his team's shitty is what I'm going to say. So, yeah, everybody's saying that they think that Luka's going to be MVP. You're crazy because it's not necessarily totally an individual award. It's also a team award. And if the Lakers are not even making the playoffs, how the fuck is he going to be the MVP is what I'm going to say right there. James is saying, does Luka's scoring package remind you of Paul Pierce? No, not really. That's not the person that I think of. I mean, I think Luka is uniquely himself. I think that obviously you could say stuff like Larry. Larry, in some ways, is very much like Luka. You have to go watch Larry Bird. There's some stuff about them that are similar because they're not very athletic, but they're extremely good shooters. And they're also shit talkers. And they can also do kind of trick shots. Like we've seen Luka do the sitting down shot recently where he's sitting on the sideline and he just throws the ball up effortlessly and it goes through the hoop. Yeah, I don't know. The comparisons for Luka, there shouldn't be many because he's not like anybody else. Paul Pierce is not as good as Luka. I'm going to say that right now. He's not as good as him. If you're going to compare somebody from the back in the day, I would rather compare him to a different Celtic, and that would be Larry Bird. Seriously, that would be Larry Bird. That's what I'm saying. And it's not even just because of color. It's honestly partly the unathletic white guy who's not very talented, but they are an extremely good shooter. And they're absolutely dominant in scoring ways. That's really kind of more what it is as far as why I compare him to Bird. And Seymour saying no and no. Yep, that's where I'm at with both those answers. Yeah, Pierce had heart. Yeah, Pierce was annoying. I hate Paul Pierce. I hate him. He of course, showed up against us on other teams like the Nets and the Wizards in our history. And he's always been disrespectful towards the Raptors on television. So, yeah, Paul Pierce, I'm not a big fan of him. When he had his little party where he got drunk and got in trouble and got fired, that was hilarious to me. I'll just say that. Wayne's here. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. McGrady was told by Kobe that it was a mistake to leave Toronto. I did not know that. So Kobe told him that straight up. Yeah, and he probably listened to him. That's once again, that's, somebody's ahead of you, a veteran from before, and you should listen to their advice. Usually they're helpful. Tim Duncan's very helpful to Victor Wembanyama. Trust me. And, that's why when people watch the NBA on NBC this year coming up, they should listen to them because Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady, Grant Hill, Michael Jordan, they know what they're talking about. Reggie Miller, yeah, they know what they're talking about. It's going to be very, very interesting. Good to see Wayne. Always happy to see Wayne on the show. Manifesting Dwayne Casey currently. Yes, I love this. And thank you for bringing this up. Tomorrow, Thursday Think Tank, Casey, President Casey. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow. Well, I want people that do not like the idea of Dwayne Casey to come to my stream tomorrow. Maybe call me on the phone because it's the Thursday Think Tank and tell me exactly why you don't want Dwayne Casey to be the president of the Raptors. I just want to hear it from the people's voices, and then maybe I can make a counter argument. But because that's the topic tomorrow. We're going to talk about Casey being the president of the Raptors and why I think it's a great idea, but, some people don't. And I want the forum to be out there. I want us to have a debate tomorrow. And hopefully maybe there's somebody that's watching that doesn't want him and they want to call in the show and we can talk about it in a mature, a grown-up way, not attacking each other, just kind of talk about it and see both sides. So, yeah, tomorrow, Thursday Think Tank, President Dwayne Casey of the Toronto Raptors. Let's talk about the idea of that and whether you're with it. I'm with Wayne. Let's manifest this. Let's do it, Keith Pelly. call Case today and say, I don't want to ruin your weekend, Dwayne, but you're the new president of the Raptors. I don't want to ruin your weekend. Keith Pelly came up from underneath the bridge, his troll ass. Let's go. Seymour saying, man is probably working for free due to his gambling debts. Mike going out bad, forced to sell his part of Charlotte. Shaking my head. No. You're painting this the wrong way. You're painting this the wrong way, Seymour. First of all, I've heard Michael Jordan's very, very much getting compensated for being on NBC. Oh, yeah. You don't think he's getting paid to be there? He's getting paid. In fact, the contract's crazy, I believe. It's like he's getting I don't know, $50 million or something like that. It's insane, the amount that they're paying Michael to be involved with NBC. Trust me. He's not doing it for free. Trust me. He's getting the most money out of anybody who's involved. Trust me. He is. You know he is. His gambling debts, I mean, I don't know what's going on with him with gambling. Hopefully he found help at some point in his post-career. And this hasn't been an issue. We don't hear sordid stories about Michael Jordan other than his son and different weird things that are going on. For the most part, Michael's been pretty quiet, and there's not a lot of controversies. I've heard more good things about Michael, like opening hospitals for people in underprivileged areas and doing different really good things other than like gambling scandals or anything like that. If there was some issues with Michael and his gambling, we would have heard about it, right? We would have heard about it. Also, remember, Michael is not broke, bro. Michael has Hanes. Michael has Gatorade. Michael has Nike. Michael has his empire that he's built. And honestly, he's still a guy who generates a huge amount of income with his shoes and all kinds of stuff. So let's not get it twisted. This man, thanks to Phil Taylor and a lot of other people, has made a shit ton of money from Air Jordans and his endorsements he still appears in. So no, he's not worried about money in any kind of way. And he wasn't forced to sell his part in Charlotte. He read the tea leaves, saw that team was going nowhere, and he got the hell out of there. That's what it was. It wasn't that he was forced to do it. He's like, y'all suck. I can't have any quality control here. So I'm throwing my hands up and walking away because y'all suck. But the last thing I will tell you is don't draft Scoot, draft Brandon Miller. And I'm out. That's where I went. It wasn't that he was forced to. He was just like, y'all are horrible. And I'm sick of being associated with this shitty ass franchise. I'm selling my part. I'm out of here. That's what it was, really. That's actually the truth right there. That's right. Yeah, Seymour saying, I woke up in a pissed mood. Don't remind me. I'm sorry, Seymour. Well, maybe I can entertain you or help you see a happier side of things in some ways. Yeah, Reggie's here. Good to see Smooth. Respect your grind, Lex. It's the dog days of the offseason. Wow. Yeah. Well, sometimes gifts are handed to me. And hearing the news yesterday, McGrady's going to join Carter for NBC. That's Raptors news right there. That's like, okay. And I had a real legitimate wow when I saw it because wow, Tracy's going to be on NBC too. That's awesome. That is amazing. And that's fantastic. It makes me really happy. And what does it say about our Raptors franchise that two of the icons that are going to be joining NBC are connected to us? And they are looked at as partly Raptors. That's right, man. I appreciate you, Reggie, for your grind of showing up and being here with me quite often. And I appreciate you as our champion of trivia also. Yeah, Kaz is here. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Kaz. Friends, shake hands. Good competition to the best team that wins in the WNBA fantasy this week. That's right. To the WNBA and fantasy. There you go. All right, let's see. Where am I in the chat? I lost it for a second here. Okay, slap my mic. Okay. Let me see. Shaq Lindsay's here. He's saying, just wanted to share this link. People make this economy, not the top 1%. I don't know what link it is. And in some ways, it doesn't allow it. But maybe after the stream, Shaq Lindsay, if you want to put the link in the comments, you can share it there. Especially if it's a political thing. But yeah, this is the thing. Once again, the billionaire class is not the ruling class. We are, and we need to realize our power as the masses. And we can change things real quick when we want to. And we will. We will. I have complete faith that we're going to fix this bullshit with this parasite class. And people are going to have enough at a certain point. Certain places are going to be the breaking point, and we're going to see it in different places. And in some ways, the 1%, you can hoard all the wealth you want. Nobody gives a shit that Elon Musk is about to become a trillionaire. That's fucked up. That is immoral. That is crazy. Nobody's impressed by that. People are starving. And we're going to fucking come for his money at some point. Watch. Seriously. Everybody's going to come and get what's right in this world at some point because they've had enough suffering, enough subjugation, and enough just like sitting on their ass and letting this shit happen. We're going to get to a point where like, nah, that's enough. That's enough. And this is what's going to happen now because we make the rules. And that's the damn truth. Seriously. In some ways, that's why they're buying more police. That's why they're getting more ICE agents. That's why Mark Zuckerberg is making a compound on an island in Hawaii away from everybody. You know, there's a lot of like they're getting ready to hide from us just in case we do fucking take the power back. And we will. I know we will. At some point, we're going to have to. We're going to have to. That's right. But yeah, I want to see your link. So I hope to see it. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercey's saying, Fiercey's clapping for Sue. I like that. Seymour's saying, I'd rather listen to Alvin over Tracy. Yeah, I mean, I understand your hate for Tracy McGrady, and it's totally allowed here. I'm not going to get mad at you. Just like I didn't want people to get mad at me for hating Vince still last year. But my opinion, Tracy's good. But I can totally see why yours isn't. And I will allow it. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. You're not wrong for it. That's right. Alvin Williams is a real Raptor. You can get a dunk for that. That's for damn sure. Alvin Williams is a bona fide real Raptor who never sold us out and was always truthfully with us. In fact, he sold out Philadelphia for Toronto. And that's a huge thing. A guy from Germantown, a guy from the city of Philly, and he turned his back on his hometown, even some of his family, because he's picking Raptors. He's picking Toronto. He's picking Canada. Yeah, Alvin Williams, salute to you. You're a real one. You were my favorite Raptor back in the day when you played with Vince. I wasn't a Vince guy first. I was an Alvin guy first. Alvin Williams has been my favorite Raptor for a long, long time. Yeah, Seymour saying, slap my mic. Bam. Sounds frictiony. I don't know. Something, maybe it's not connected in completely straight. Is it a little bit better? I mean, I try to, hello, check. I don't know. I should be better with my audio. Sometimes I feel like I need an audio tech. And it's weird, man. Kareem saying his Lex sounds like he's doing his stream and treading water at the same time. Okay, I don't like that. That's no good. Seymour saying Lex is still sleeping. I think he's a clone at Lex. AI Lex, joking with you. No, it's really me. Mo's saying, yes, back up away from the mic a bit. Okay, maybe it's better now. Hopefully it's settled down. James is saying Black Mamba is closest thing to Jordan. I agree with that. Kareem saying, whoo, Lex made it back to the shore. Okay, so I got it. It went back. Okay. Shaq saying, can't connect. Search Steve Harvey in Canada. Okay, Steve Harvey said something about Canada. Yeah, you can't post links in my chat while I'm doing my stream, but in the comments after the stream, you can go and put a link in there. And thank you to Isaac for posting the highlights of the Naismith Cup when Tel Aviv Maccabi beat the Raptors in the last stream, the yesterday stream for Anthony Parker's trivia. That is a really cool clip. And thank you for digging it up, Isaac, and put it in the comments so you could watch the actual highlights of that Naismith Cup game where Anthony Parker hit the game winner over the Raptors. And one of the very rare times where a non-NBA team beat an NBA team. And that may be why Adam Silver does not want to do a World Championship World Cup where the NBA champion might get beat by another team that's champion of another region of the world. Yikes. Let's keep going. Wayne's saying, I would pay to hear Charles Oakley. Pimpin' ain't dead. Pimpin' ain't scared. The hoes are running scared. Spoken by Charles. Up to this day, nobody even knows what the hell that means. Not even Oakley. Well, that's part of the problem with Charles Oakley doing commentary. He's been fantastic when he comes and sits down just for like a quarter. And he just talks like with Matt and Alvin there. But if he's doing regular commentary, he may be hard to understand at times. Charles Oakley is a very real, authentic person. I love him, man. I love him so much. And he has a dialect. He has a way of speaking. And some of the ways it's a little bit backwards. He may say phrases a little bit jumbled in different order, and it doesn't totally make sense sometimes. Like if you're nitpicky, he's not a clear orator. He's not an easy to understand guy sometimes. And that doesn't bode well for a broadcasting career. You know, I think he'd be fun to do interviews every once in a while, and he may say a couple comments. But as a regular color person, yeah, that'd be tough to listen to Oakley regularly. I love him to death, man. And fuck you, James Dolan. I'll say that. How about that? Cool Cat's here. Good to see the coach. Good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Tuning in a bit late. Vince and T-Mac rebuilding the Raptors rep. You know, this isn't necessarily for us, but it doesn't hurt. I mean, I feel like both of them did really good work last year and kind of reclaiming like their spots as Raptors alumni and being okay and showing warm energy towards us and just showing up. I mean, seriously, Tracy being at his retirement ceremony, being at the jersey retirement and his Hall of Fame, and then doing the commercial with Grady and also doing the Raptors Delight interview. Even though they delighted in being the villains, and that episode on Raptors Delight pissed me the hell off. Pissed me the hell off because once again, Dark Side of the Raptors, Sportsnet's Raptors Delight, you fuckers. The way y'all made that whole series, I hate you guys. Open Gym is way better than y'all. Y'all have nothing on Open Gym. And broadcasting and showing the glee that Tracy and Vince had as opponents against the Raptors after they left and torching us and destroying us in an interview, that was hard to watch. And that made me hate them for a second. But I was like, you know what? This is more indicative of Sportsnet and their bullshit with this series, Raptors Delight, this absolute piece of crap, than them actually and what they're saying, because they had this feeling, and they're rightfully so. We were showing animosity and booing the hell out of them. Well, they're competitors, and they wanted to compete, and they wanted to show us up, and they did. Quite often, they did show up the Raptors fans, and they fed off our energy and kicked our ass. In some ways, yeah, they had to delight in that, because in some ways, that was part of the whole thing. And that's tough because some people can't forgive them for being villains after they played for the Raptors. But I'm at this point where they're retired. They're both Hall of Famers. There's water under the bridge. And in some ways, we can see they're part of their career and separate it from that stuff that matters to us. That matters to us. So it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. I hear what you're saying. I think that both of them are in pretty good standing with Raptors Nation for the most part at this point. Vince was in worse shape than Tracy last year. But now it may be that Vince is in better shape with us than Tracy, apparently. Yeah. Smooth saying it's behind the scenes at WWE is really, really good. It's a behind the scenes at WWE. It's really, really good. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with WWE. I'm not paying attention to wrestling right now. I'm not. I've seen that they're going to re-release LJN figures like they did in the 80s. And they got like a John Cena and a Logan Paul one coming out or something like that. Kaz is saying, I'm 20 minutes behind right now, but the green dildo thing was hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, that's comedy gold. I could just tell you the news, and it's a comedy routine. I don't even have to try and be making a joke. At the WNBA game last night in Atlanta, someone threw a green dildo onto the court in the middle of the game. Yeah, it's a little bit crazy. It's a little bit crazy. Sue saying, I love you too, Lex. Love you, Sue. Yeah, thanks for coming and watching me today. Like I said, I'm watching you all the time. I'm not always putting comments or liking it all the time, but I'm seeing most of your stuff still. And I've really enjoyed, like, you're just so prolific right now. And I like the difference when you have yourself and different people coming in from time to time too. So yeah, keep doing what you're doing, Sue. And I like that you're doing a lot more recent stuff, and you're doing a lot of stuff blind now too, which is really good. I like that. Stargate saying, didn't Kenny Anderson refuse to come here as well? Yeah, he did. Kenny Anderson refused to come here. Alonzo Mourning refused to come here. Yeah, there were a few guys that did that. And yeah, Kenny Anderson's on that list too, as far as things. Stargate, good to see you this morning. Let's see. Yes, we're saying, yep, he said he would handcuff himself to his locker before accepting a trade to the Raptors. Yeah, Kenny Anderson's kind of a douche. I'm just going to be honest. Now, the player that I always got him confused with around that time was Chauncey. And the weird thing is Chauncey got the same thing happen to him. He got traded to the Raptors, but he showed up and he was a good citizen and he kicked some ass, and he wasn't on the Raptors for long. But Chauncey Billups was a good citizen in doing that. And in some ways, that launched him into a better part of his career with Detroit and winning a championship. And now, look, he's a Hall of Famer. And what is Kenny Anderson? He ain't jack shit. So there's a good cautionary tale right there. What's Steve Francis? What's Kenny Anderson? Well, look at Chauncey Billups. Chauncey Billups got the deal. He said, you know what? I'm not going to be against Raptors. I'll come play for the Toronto Raptors for a little while. Maybe I don't want to be here. Maybe on the down low, I'm still talking to my agent. I want to get out of here still. But I'll come and fulfill my duty. I'll come and do this. And good things happen for Chauncey Billups. He wins a championship with Rip Hamilton and Ben Wallace in Detroit. And then all of a sudden, he's got a Hall of Fame career. And he's in the Hall of Fame with Vince Carter last year. I mean, that you can tell the cautionary tale of being no in your life and being closed-minded, like Steve Francis, who destroyed the Vancouver Grizzlies franchise himself, partly. Kenny Anderson, well, who the fuck are you? Nobody talks about you at this point. You know what I say about Kenny Anderson at this point? You married the girl from Real World, and your marriage was shit, and you got divorced. That's what I know you for. I don't know you jack shit for your NBA career at this point. Kenny Anderson, who was absolutely one of the best point guards when he was played, but I don't give a shit about his playing career. All I remember him for is marrying Tammy and them being together for a little while, and then it fucked up. And that's your footnote, bro. That's your legacy, Kenny Anderson. Forget about fucking not coming to the Raptors. Forget about shunning that. Well, Chauncey came, and look at where he's at. And well, look at your life after that. So yeah, there you go. Cautionary tale. Young players, you want to say no to the Raptors? You want to say no to Vancouver? Well, you may be like Steve Francis and Kenny Anderson in the end of it. That's what I say to that. Yeah, boom goes the dynamite. Wild times, 95, 96. That's right. There you go. 96, 97. I don't know. It was right around there. Seymour saying, good Lord, I didn't know that about Kenny Anderson. Yeah, Kenny Anderson's a little dipshit, bro. He did an Alonzo to us. BJ Armstrong was the first one, though, guys. We got to put that out there. BJ Armstrong was the very first pick by the Raptors ever in the expansion draft. And he was going to refuse to report. And Isaiah knew that. That's the crazy thing. He's like, BJ's not going to come. But he wanted BJ as the asset because he was on the Bulls championship team. And he had some value because of the prestige of being on the Bulls championship teams. So he acquired BJ knowing that he was going to flip him for multiple players. And that was how he got Carlos Rogers, Victor Alexander for our team. He turned him into like 3 players, I believe, when he traded BJ Armstrong. And that was actually a really smart move by Isaiah. That's another thing that people don't realize. Isaiah Thomas was a badass for us in the beginning. And part of the reason why the Raptors got off to a good start as a franchise is hugely because of Isaiah. Really, really smart stuff. Like getting BJ and knowing he's going to trade him immediately to get more assets for him. It was smart. Very, very smart. Smooth saying DeAndre Ayton is being accused of stranding a woman on a vacation after she refused to sleep with him. He took off and left her there, apparently. Yeah, he took some Instagram model to some island somewhere. And, well, I guess he's trying to romance her. I don't know what it was. And, well, she wouldn't sleep with him. It was just kind of funny because, like, well, wasn't that the whole arrangement? Wasn't that kind of what it was? But, no, it wasn't. And she wasn't in on that. And he found out. And I'm like, man, what kind of anti-Riz do you have, DeAndre Ayton? You're like 7 foot tall, and you're in the NBA, and you're not a bad-looking guy to the point where this woman is like, oh, DeAndre, thank you for bringing me to this beautiful place, but you're disgusting to me. I don't want to have anything to do with you in a sexual way. It's like, what? What, bitch? And he gets on a plane and leaves her there. That's crazy. That's crazy. That just tells you more about the character of DeAndre Ayton. And that may just fill in the blanks for fights with Monty Williams, complaints that he doesn't come to practice, and all kinds of other shit around DeAndre Ayton. So you go ahead and enjoy him being your starting center, LA Lakers nation. This man's training Instagram models who don't want to have sex with him. That's crazy. Isn't that kind of what the whole Instagram model is trying to do? Is like finagle into your life, maybe get a baby, and then all of a sudden they get some money? Isn't that kind of part of the whole like ecosystem of that around the NBA? What's going on here? It's crazy. I'm sorry if I was disrespectful to women in any way in that last diatribe, but we're talking about Instagram models. People that are, they're kind of in some ways, this is what they're trying to do. So no disrespect. I'm just saying this whole situation here. Trevor's saying London 2026 NBA game, Orlando versus Memphis Grizzlies, January 18th. Yeah, that'll be a regular season game. The NBA has been doing these in-season NBA series lately. It was like the Pacers went to Paris last year and played a couple of games last year in France. Then this is just a part of trying to get more international, testing those markets. And, well, it's going to be Orlando and Memphis going to London in January this year. That's right. Fiercely saying at Smooth, deplorable that he left the young lady stranded, but this must be a lesson for these girls. Hopping on a jet to an exotic location, you thought he wanted to build sandcastles with you? I'm just saying, explore the scenery? I'm just saying. I mean, come on now. In some ways, come on. Seriously, you don't understand what he's trying to do? Seriously? In some ways, you need to just tell him no right from the start. I want to go to the island with you. I'm going to go with you. Okay. But then it got to that point. Well, either way, this is in some ways, this is not the NBA we want to talk about, guys. This is the extra bullshit on the side. And this isn't even Glorilla and Brandon Ingram. And that's Raptors related. This is not. And this is the stuff Tracy's talking about that we don't need to be talking about anymore. We need to talk about basketball. That's right. That's right. Stargate saying Luka is not Larry Legend. I agree with that. But in some ways, it's kind of like there's some of the qualities I'm saying, like the unathletic guy who has a lot of talent, like can shoot really crazy and has kind of and Larry was more cutthroat. Once again, this is the big difference between Michael and Larry's generation and the generation today. Is they were way more cutthroat back then. Like Larry and Michael would shoot you to win the game. Like they were that crazy. I'll shoot you with this gun if I have to win this game. They really wanted to win. And in some ways, I don't see the same kind of desire inherently in the current NBA generation that was in the generation from the 80s and the 90s. It's just not the same. These guys just don't have the same will and desire like Michael Jordan and Larry Bird. And that's the difference. I mean, Luka's different than Larry for that. For sure. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Luka doesn't have nowhere near the basketball IQ Larry has. I would argue with that to a degree because I do see him do some very interesting passing and he does read the floor really, really well. Them both being unathletic Caucasians basketball players is where the similarities stop. I also say they're both very plus shooters. They're very, very plus shooters. Both of them are very plus shooters. So Kenny's here. Good morning to Raptor Freak Kenny. He's another one of the originals, top original 5 from the very beginning. Him and Sue were 2 of the 5 originals that have been with this channel for almost 4 years now. Good to see you, Kenny. Randolph's here. Good to see Randolph Phillips, Lex, and Raptor Freaks. Blessings. Life comes at us swift and hard, but you are well equipped for whatever it throws at you. Whatever you lack, others possess. That's why communities can be so important in the age that we're moving into now. The world is changing. There's a new change, a shift in the world in the different ways. The old world is dying and a new world is being hatched. And in some ways, as community and the way we could actually shape this world more now. There's a lot of opportunity in this. This is the seedlings of a lot of stuff going in the future. And in some ways, we need to be responsible and respectful and smart about how we want to shape the future. If we let the 1% and the billionaire class shape it, it's going to be dystopian and ugly. So we need to get our power as the people. And community is the strength. And, we may not all have certain powers, but other people may have the powers we lack, as Randolph is saying. So use your power for good and understand what you have as skills to add to everybody else to help in the community. And that's what we're looking for in the future. If there's going to be a struggle, if there's going to be problems, we can lean on each other through community, whether it's food banks, farmers markets, all kinds of different ways you can help out your fellow citizens and people around you locally near you. This is going to be a huge thing coming up, guys. Trust me. And getting more familiar with your neighbors and their skills and what you have to add with them is going to be smart. Just trust me on this. Blessings to Randolph Phillips, all the Raptor Freak families. Blessings to y'all. Also, blessings to Phillips family. That's right. Kenny saying Tracy not a good TV personality, not entertaining enough. Yeah, you might be right. He's not. He's a little dry, but he's very intellectual. He's very intellectual. And he has said some stupid stuff on ESPN. You're right. In the last couple of years, he's been out of pocket with some of his takes. But we'll have to see how it goes. And like I said, the synergy will be found between him and his cousin. And maybe the other guys, too. I know that Tracy has ties with Grant, too. Grant Hill played with Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady in Orlando. So there's a lot of familiarity all around. I want to see Reggie Miller and Michael Jordan sitting in the same panel sometimes, because that could be very entertaining. The old rivalry between Reggie and Michael could be revived on NBC because they're both working for them. That could be very, very interesting. El Selector's here. Good to see you, El Selector. We do this every morning, talking daily Raptors subjects, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time every day. Relax. It's not that personal. Which one? What are you talking about? Which one? I have some personal grudges right now. I do. So which one? Which one are you talking about? It depends on who you're talking about. Now, if it's an oligarch or a billionaire, yeah, I have that grudge. It's going to happen. If you're talking about Vince, no, that grudge is over. I don't have a grudge with Vince. Who's the grudge? I don't know. Relax. It's not that personal. You got to fill it out. I cover a lot of subjects, and when I get to your comment, well, I don't know what you're talking about. What's so personal? What is personal? What is it? This personal? Well, I'm a Raptors fan. I'm passionate for my team. I stand for my team. And if it's not for my team and it's against my team, well, I'm against it. How about that? That's where it goes right there. Blackhawks here. Good to see Neil. Tammy is more popular than Kenny. Laugh out loud. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Tammy, original, she wasn't on the original Real World, or was she? She was on the original Real World with the son of Jack Nees, Eric Nees. Jack Nees is a former NBA referee, and his son was on the original cast of the Real World in New York. And Tammy was on that cast also. And in some ways, Tammy is a more important person in this world than Kenny Anderson, because she was on a groundbreaking, some have called it the first ever reality show ever created. She was on it. Yeah. Kaloy's here. Morning, Lex and Rapid Freak family. Aiton dropping balls off the court as well. Ha ha. Oh, you Kaloy. All right. You don't always make jokes, so I'm going to give you a joke for this, for trying. It was pretty good. 73 on the dunk charts for our friend Carlo JS. Yes, that's awesome. Monique is saying this. 4 years ago, yesterday, Scotty got drafted. What's your take for Scotty this year in year 5, Lex? Well, once again, I hate how everybody's trying to stipulate Scotty has to do this year, or he's not doing good. Bullshit. First of all, bullshit. Once again, last year, Scotty had a broken hand. He had a hurt hand on the down low. He was playing with it, and that's why his shooting was bad last year. His three-point was off because his hand was messed up the whole entire season, guys. So it's like you can blame his bad shooting on him not getting better, or you could blame it on injury, which is what it was. And we're going to see him shoot way better this year, God willing, if he's healthy. And the other thing about Scott is, once again, it's not about how much he scores. It's about how much of a glue guy he's doing, winning plays at every second in ways to help the Raptors win. And those winning plays are passing the ball, blocking shots, stealing the ball, playing good team defense, calling out to his teammates assignments and making sure they're in the right places. It's organizing the team, being a leader with energy, coming at things to help revitalize them, maybe come back. There's all kinds of different ways Scotty can help the team. And that's what y'all should be looking at. He's a Swiss Army knife. He does everything. You need to let him just do the winning plays in the moment. And those plays may not be making points. Those plays may be setting up RJ. Those plays may be passing it to Brandon. And you got to just allow for success for Scotty is indicative of the Raptors win total. That's it right there. You don't judge him on his individual stats. Judge him as the team franchise leader who's leading the team in spirit as a glue guy, doing all the plays, dirty work, the little plays, the plays that don't get stats. He's doing all that kind of shit. And a lot of players that are the franchise player aren't willing to do the dirty work and the stuff that doesn't get any credit. But Scotty is. And that's part of the reason why we should respect and love him for that. Seriously. So I don't want to hear any of this bullshit about Scotty nitpicking about his scoring or how much he's shooting threes or this or that. Just let Scott play. He's very, very talented. He's going to do very good things for us. He's a winning kind of player, and he's going to show it even more this year. In fact, this may be the year he comes out and he makes the world understand just how much of a glue winning kind of guy he is in this league. And Raptors fans that have been kind of dissing him or kind of making kind of like stipulations for him, y'all are going to need to shut the fuck up, because you're going to see what happens. You're going to be like, whoa, all right, I should have just laid off Scotty. I'm exactly wrong about him. They're going to find that out this year. And I'm going to love it. I'm going to love it. And we'll be able to say, yeah, I told you so. Raptors fans that were not believing in Scotty. You know, Scotty taught me this early on Twitch. He said, Raptors freak, don't ever doubt me, man. Don't ever doubt me. That's Scotty personally talking to me personally on Twitch. He's like, don't ever doubt me. I'm going to come through for you guys. And that's important to him. It's very, very important to Scott personally. He hates that when fans doubt him. And he's going to show you guys that doubt him in Raptors Nation that you're fools. He's going to show you guys. Because I know from being on Twitch with Scott for like 500 hours and getting to know his psychology and getting to know the way he thinks, he loves y'all doubting him because he wants to show you how wrong you fucking are. And he's going to show y'all, seriously. And you all call yourselves fans of the Raptors when you can't even get behind our franchise player who's a badass, honestly. You're toxic fans. If you're too critical and coming at Scotty, you're toxic fans. I'm sorry. You just are. That's just how it is. Neil saying she should have gone on the trip she should not have gone on the trip in the first place. Ayton got back at her at fair and square. I don't know if that's fair and square. That ain't right. That ain't right. You know what? In some ways, maybe there's some slick guy at that island, wherever DeAndre Ayton left that Instagram model and said, hey, sorry, baby. What happened? Did he leave you here? Maybe that he got, got to meet her and got a love connection, scooping up the mess that DeAndre Ayton left. Just saying, oh, no, don't worry. I'll fly you back. I'm a much nicer millionaire than DeAndre Ayton. I'll take care of you. Don't worry. Who knows? Who knows what happened? Either way, I want to say fair and square. That's not fair and square, Blackhawk. That's ridiculous. No, that's not right what he did. He flew her to an island, left her stranded there. That ain't right. That's not right. That sounds like some Epstein shit. Honestly, let's just say that right there. Yeah, Fiercely saying, I wouldn't sleep with him either, is what Fiercely said. I'm guessing conversations with him are boxing and lack depth. That's funny. That's so funny. Let's see. I may be wrong, but he comes off as not too smart or interesting. Yeah, that may be true. That may be all true. Everything you said in there. That may be true right there. All of it. Yeah. Stargate saying Kenny's legacy stops at high school in New York. Yeah, he was a high draft pick for the Nets. He was paired with Derek Coleman early in his career, and those Nets were promising. But once again, the Nets didn't go nowhere with Chris Morris, Dennis Hobson, and Sam Bowie and all them. No, didn't go nowhere. And he got traded and bounced around a little bit. And I think that him dissing the Raptors really hurt him. I mean, he saw some time in places like Boston and a couple other places afterwards, but his career never really went anywhere after he dissed the Raptors. Kenny Anderson could have been a whole lot better. Trust me. He messed up. He had an opportunity in Toronto. He could have established himself in some ways. And you're kind of an idiot, bro. If you had been hanging around, you might have been playing with Vince and Tracy. Kenny Anderson, you idiot. This is a dumbass, man. Wayne saying countdown to European basketball. That's right. Later this month, in August, actually, I should say, the European FIBA EuroLeague championships are going to be going on, countries against countries. And some of our Raptors will be participating, and I'll be covering that. It looks like Jakob will be playing for Austria in the EuroLeague championships for FIBA at the end of August. And we'll cover that extensively on this channel. That's right. Mo's saying this next, Superfan Mo. I absolutely hate the Brandon and Glorilla news. Let the man live. Trevor keeps posting it. There's nothing wrong with it. Why do you hate it, Mo? It's a man just with a woman, and they're just enjoying themselves. I know maybe it's because you think it's none of our business. It's not a negative thing. There's not anything wrong with it. Brandon's a single man. She's a single woman. They want to date and be around each other. Well, it's just that kind of thing. It's TMZ news. I get it. It's not basketball news, but it is a Raptor. It's a very important Raptor, one of our starters. And it is coverage that we should do on this channel because it's Brandon Ingram. He's a Toronto Raptor. And this isn't a negative story. It's not a bad thing. He's just hanging out with a singer and they're having a good time. And I don't see anything wrong with it. I don't know why you're mad about it. Trevor's just reporting the news. He's just reporting the news. Al Selector's at me. Let's see what he's saying. Larry Bird moved more athletic, and Larry had a higher IQ and more skill and had a higher higher motor. All right, I want to break this down and be fair. Larry Bird more athletic. I don't think that's true. I think that in this case, Luka may be more athletic, especially if he's coming back this year, skinny, right into the league. You don't understand how unathletic Larry Bird was. He was not athletic in the least. He was very slow, and he was just he's not an athlete. Let's just put it that way. Luka, in some ways, is more of an athlete than him. I would say that. Larry had a higher IQ. That may be true. I'll probably say that's true. I would say that's true. But Luka's got a very high basketball IQ also. Let's not get that twisted, More skilled. I would say that in some ways, Luka's more skilled than Larry, but it's hard to say. Some of the stuff with Larry, where his skill is in shooting, right? His huge skill was shooting. That was his plus shooting. He was like the best shooter in the league. He didn't miss hardly. Now, his other skills, as far as passing, were very skilled too. Yeah, he was amazing with his passes over his head and passes around his back and stuff like that. Really, really good passer too. But Luka's got good passing like that too. I've seen Luka a pretty adept passer in different ways. If you're thinking about other skills on the court, I mean, Larry was a pretty adept rebounder. He was a pretty adept rebounder. He may have been a way better rebounder than Luka for sure on that. But it's tough to say. Higher motor. Well, Larry did kind of it depends on where you're talking about Larry in his career. Early in his career when he's healthy and his back wasn't bad, he had a very good motor and energy for the whole game. But later on, it was tough for Larry to do long stints on the court because his back was very much an issue. Very, very much an issue in the late 80s, early 90s. So it depends on when you're talking about. As far as I think that Luka, it may be, you're right, that Larry had more of a motor because in some ways he's been in better shape than Luka has been. Like I'd say that Larry's less athletic than Luka, but Larry was in better shape than Luka. But maybe this year Luka's in better shape. I don't know. This is an interesting conversation in some ways. The differences here. Fiercely saying I'm totally biased, but I noticed Raptors have a particular type of player they pick. People with common sense, respectables, carry themselves well, exude great energy, team player, etc. Yeah, this is part of what Chris Boucher has said. If you're even on the Raptors roster, that means you're a good quality person. That means that you have character. That usually means you're a winner. That usually means that you're not a knucklehead. You're not a DeAndre Ayton. Yeah, we don't even like talk to players like this. That's why when we drafted Colin Murray Boyles, I have to say, well, this kid's not a knucklehead. This kid's not an idiot like Derek Queen. You know, there's a lot of knuckleheads that come in each draft, and the Raptors avoid them. They kind of point out who the knuckleheads are, and they absolutely avoid them. They don't even get through the door with us. And, you know, that's part of how we select who's coming, because in some ways that's smart. You save yourself mistaking things with the pick just because you get a supremely talented player, but they're a knucklehead. And then all of a sudden you got Zion Williamson on your team. So it's like, that's smart. The Raptors want people that can work hard, have a winning attitude, have a winning pedigree already. Jamal Shed, work hard like Pascal Siakam. Not going to get jaded and start being lazy when they get the bag. Like DeMar DeRozan did not stop working once he got money. He worked even harder and harder as things went. It's stuff like that. It's stuff like that you get you as a Raptor. Stargate saying, plus Stephon Marbury and Rod Strickland were better, in my opinion. Woo! Than Kenny Anderson? Yeah. Yeah, I say Marbury was better than Anderson for sure. Rod Strickland underrated, and I'm glad you put his name in there. Yeah, I could say this for sure. In some ways, Rod Strickland and Kenny Anderson were contemporaries, and they were in the league at the same time. And Rod Strickland was always near the leaders in assists, and he always had very, very respectable steal stats also. I will allow this. Former Raptor Rod Strickland did show up in Toronto and did play for the Raptors for a little while, very briefly, very, very briefly. But Rod did not refuse coming to Toronto. He did come here and play for us for a little bit. Yeah, that's right. El Selector saying Kenny Anderson. That's who you're talking about? I'm still salty about it. I'm personal about this because there's been a trend of people being anti-Canada. Be like, oh no, I can't play in Canada. Steve Francis said he couldn't play for the Grizzlies, and he kind of took that franchise down. It's just disrespectful. It's stupid. It's honestly, these guys are dumb for it. Kenny Anderson's an idiot for not wanting to come to Toronto because he had a great opportunity to make a name for himself in a place with Vince Carter. He would have gotten more acclaim. If he had shown up, he might have been playing with Vince, and all of a sudden he would have gotten way more publicity than being on the Nets. So it's like, yeah, Kenny Anderson's an idiot, honestly. He's made a lot of poor decisions in his life, and, well, he's where he is at his point in his life at this point now. And you say, oh, you're making it personal or I get upset about it? Yeah, well, he was one of the ones that dissed our team and showed disrespect for our city and our franchise. And at that time, nobody cared. I did. I was one of the few people that cared that Kenny Anderson didn't report here. I was pissed at him then. And I'm pissed at Alonzo, too, for the same thing. I don't have to forgive them or be okay with them, even with the passage of time. I'm a Raptors freak. I don't forget. And the history of the Raptors is my knowledge. And I know the history of the Raptors. And in some ways, has Kenny Anderson ever tried to make up for it in any kind of way? Has he ever made a public statement about, I made a mistake because I didn't go to Toronto? I've never heard him say that. I've heard Tracy McGrady talk about he regrets not staying in Toronto. That's different. So, there's different ways to amend this over time. But, Alonzo Mourning don't give a shit about whether he's cool with Canada or Toronto or the Raptors. Neither does Kenny Anderson. So they don't care. I don't care about them. So fuck them. I think Alonzo Mourning is such a big piece of shit. I'm honestly serious. I don't give a shit about his kidney problems. I don't give a shit about his Heat bullshit. Fuck you, Alonzo Mourning, you piece of shit. I'll always look at you as the third best Georgetown center. Yeah, Patrick Ewing, Dikembe Mutombo, then you sorry ass. He could have been way better in his career too, Alonzo. Seriously. Oh, I'll sewer these guys. Seriously. It's good. I love it. Most saying W Stream W Vibes. Yeah, we got about 22 minutes till 2 hours, and I'll finish up right on time, hopefully. Go Raptors for life. Keep at it, Lex. Strong forever. Keep limited in the comments for me, Mo. I appreciate you for doing it, my producer. Seymour saying, F Kenny Anderson. Kittles was better. Coleman was better. O'Bannon, laugh out loud, was better. No, you went too far. Kerry Kittles, I'll get with that. Yeah, Kerry Kittles, former, wasn't he Villanova? Yeah, Kerry Kittles was actually a really good NBA player. He's a really cool scorer. And in some ways, I liked him. Yeah, I liked Kerry Kittles. Derek Coleman's amazing player out of Syracuse. He was quite good when he was healthy in his early career. Later on, he got hurt, but he was still a serviceable kind of player in the league for a while after he got hurt. But yeah, Kenny Anderson, yeah, in some ways he could have been so much bigger and better out of Georgia Tech, but no, his career is what it is. Neil saying Tammy has been on many shows. She is working her craft. I've watched many of them. Yeah, Tammy was an interesting person. She's like a model, right? And she's very attractive, and she really did do some stuff with her career. Yeah, that's from what I've heard. Yeah, Seymour saying Kenny ain't even a top 10 Nets player of all time. Yeah, that's definitely true. That's definitely true. Yeah, it's like, what legacy do you have? What did you do with your career, bro? What made you have the audacity to say, I won't play for Toronto? You're an idiot, bro. You would have maybe been better off coming to Toronto. A lot of people come to Toronto when they think they shouldn't, and boom, they become DeMar DeRozan. It's like, seriously, people are like, Toronto, but then they're like, you know what? Let's go. Let's see what's up, Colin Murray Boyles. You're going to find out. It's really good for your career. You came to Toronto. Kenny Anderson never found that out because he never gave it a chance. And that's his own damn fault. Seriously, right there. Yeah. Let's see. Seymour saying, Brandon Ingram linked up with Glorilla for a birthday. Okay, BI3. I see you. Yeah. Well, listen, live your best life. I want to see you on the court. That's the best place for me to see you, though. We want to see you on the court, my guy. Randolph saying, Lex, Jonathan Kuminga reportedly continuing to decline the Warriors' $45 million contract. Wow. I didn't know Kuminga was such a power player in this league that he could do this Dennis Schroeder kind of move. People want to make fun of Dennis Schroeder for his stuff that he did with the Lakers years ago. Well, this seems like a Kuminga situation is coming to be similar to this. And it's going to be a big mistake by a young man named Jonathan very soon. Watch. You need to take that money from the Warriors and shut the fuck up, Kuminga. You think you're better than you are. I'm telling you right now. Kaloy saying B.I. and Scotty are going to be a duo for the ages. I hope you're right. I hope that they fit so well. I hope we see amazing stuff. I'm really excited. The highlight reels of Brandon have been going around on NBA places, and I'm telling you, you guys can see what he does. And just imagine that attitude, the things that we were starting to do last year when we were healthy with Emmanuel and Jakob and RJ and Scotty, and that bench mob's coming too. So it seems like the timing is really, really good right now for the Raptors to have a real renaissance and rising back up in the playoffs and in the standings and getting the playoffs again. That's what I see happening, Kaloy. That's what I see happening. Trevor's saying, when y'all keep hating in your heart for Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady, God continues to bless them. I love this. This is right too. Tremendously all the way to the bank. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's tough because people that do you wrong, it's hard for you to have love for them, Trevor. I know God says love your enemies, love everyone, but it's hard, man, when people are subjugating people unnecessarily in really ugly ways through the government in the United States. It's really, really ugly what's happening down there. And it's hard to have that kind of energy. Listen, I know that Vince and Tracy have been blessed beyond their wildest dreams in their lives with wealth, fame, athleticism, family, all kinds of amazing things in their lives. And, I think that people should be allowed to have their own feelings. And yeah, sure, maybe God and Jesus isn't encouraging people to hate, especially because one side is so hateful right now. The right wing is in charge, and they're still hateful and punitive and miserable in their lives. That tells a lot. They won the election last year. They stole it. They didn't really win it. And they're still not happy. They're still angry, trollish assholes. And that says something right there. So in some ways, even if you're being subjugated or marginalized or issues are going against you unfairly, well, in some ways, what Trevor's saying, that is where you'll get your blessings somehow, some way through the ways of God. And God will look out for you. The meek shall inherit the earth. And those that do you wrong, well, in some ways, the blessing will come around and get you somewhere in the end to help you. And the people that did that, well, they'll get what they get in the end too, at their own point. Yeah. Neil's saying, no one is born as great. They grow into greatness. That's what it means to get out of the mud. Yeah. Yeah. It's different stages and different challenges at different places. Scotty talks about getting out of the mud with his life in Palm Beach with his mother And just the life that he lived. I mean, he used to tell us stories on Twitch about food stamps and how they were reliant on them. His mother and his brothers, his sister. It was just the way it was. And he told a story one day about how he got the food stamps before his mom, and he went to the store and he spent them all on junk food. And he brought them home, and his mother freaked out on him. Oh my gosh, for buying a bunch of junk food with the food stamps that they relied on for food. So Scotty has this origin story from his youth, that he comes from nothing, comes from getting out of the mud. And in some ways, that's part of what gives him the perspective of gratefulness and feeling blessed by the Lord in the situation that he's in. He keeps him grounded. Let's just put it that way. And yeah, that's part of it. It's like, Scotty's also very smart. He understands to be great is not necessarily to be athletically talented and just coast on it. The hard work is important. The hard work is important, and he's putting it in, and then also doing it the right way. I mean, you can tell by what I was describing earlier about Scotty's player makeup. He's not all for him. He's definitely a very giving franchise player who wants everybody around him to get theirs and do look better around him. If he was an insecure franchise player, he would be hogging the ball and saying all the shots go through me and everything has to go through me. He's not like that. And that's special. That's very, very special. That's more like Irvin Magic Johnson, Jason Kidd kind of player than, a Michael Jordan kind of player. And that's why we need to value him extremely a lot, because he's not very common in any kind of way. If Scotty's a Pokemon, he's an extremely, extremely rare one, like Mewtwo. I'm just saying, he's a very rare one. You can't find them very often. That's right. Let's see. Kareem saying Glorilla and Ingram have been feeling each other since in New Orleans. She was always there courtside to watch him. This was kind of organic. So they have a history. They may have already been seeing each other. It's like none of our business. But we've seen it on a blast. No, now it is our business. Will we see her at the courtside at Scotiabank Arena this year? Maybe. That would be cool. Nothing wrong with that. She want to come watch him play. Seymour saying, Trevor, you can't blame me. I was a fan of the dude. He bounced out on hate for us first, so I carry on the tradition. F. Tracy McGrady. I'm not going to dispute Seymour for having issues with Tracy, because I had issues with Vince right up until last year, and I'm okay with Vince now, but I wasn't at this time last year. You can go see my streams from last summer. I made an anti-Vince stream about retiring his jersey. I did not agree with them doing that. I thought that was not the right move. We are all different individuals, and we should all be allowed to have diversified opinions on subjects. Some ways, the powers that be out there want everybody to hardline in their stance and their point of view of the world, and that's not democratic or freedom. And in some ways, Seymour being allowed to hate Tracy McGrady still to this day is absolutely a part of freedom. And that's what I say right there. Yeah. Fiercely saying, Luka actually looks like he's 26 now. I'm all in for anyone taking care of their body and mindset. Focus and determination are valuable elements. Yeah, he always had that pudgy baby fat in his career. That's for sure. And I'm sure the words from the Dallas Mavericks staff about him on his way out is a big, huge motivator. I'm sure he hears all the statements that Dallas made about why they didn't go forward with him, motivating him to slim his waistline and be at the point where he is right now, for sure. Everybody in this world could be a little bit more healthier. And it's always good to get more in shape. I believe in that. I really do. Let's keep going. Seymour saying, if you hate my city because we got snow or because we are in another country, it's two fingers up for sure. That's not why he left, though, Seymour. We won't clear the air. Tracy McGrady left Toronto because someone in his circle told him that he could not exist with Vince in the same team, that was just too much, and they were going to overshadow each other. If Vince Carter was going to be around him, he's getting way more attention than you, and he showed up after you, Tracy. And in some ways, do you want to grow to your biggest full potential of maximum profits that you can make in your salary? Do you want to be the franchise player like Vince looks like he is for the Raptors already, even though you came here a year before him? There was a lot of people in his ear feeding him bullshit that he didn't need to hear. Bobby or Masai talked about this recently this summer, that there's a part of the GM job is dealing with the filtering through the bullshit of friends and family around the player and the shit that they say to the players. This is Darko was talking about it, actually. Darko says, I have to deal with players, family, and friends all the time because they pump up the player and make them feel like they're way more important than they actually are. and they make them feel like they should be getting way more of this, way more of that. And it's a real issue. Tracy was having that happen with his circle around him. They told him, you can't ever be the biggest star in Toronto because Vince is already here. So they advised him to leave the people in his circle, his friends, his family. And that was the wrong move. They gave him bad advice. He never left because it was cold. He never left because of taxes or anything like that. The reason why he left was because he had bad advice from his family that told him you need to go somewhere else to have your own show away from Vince. And then a few years later, the Celtics got Garnett, Allen, and Pierce together and won a championship. And everybody's saying, whoa, wait, you're taking franchise players and making a threesome? Well, if we had known that, we would have kept Tracy McGrady in Toronto with Vince Carter. So it's a lot of that. Vince was overshadowing Tracy already, and Tracy's people were telling him, get out, because you won't get as far in your career because Vince Carter's in your way, is what it was right there. Kareem saying, I give Glorilla and Ingram a higher ceiling than Chris Humphries and Kim Kardashian. Terrence Ross and Amber Rose, for whatever that's worth. This is interesting. He's bringing up these kind of relationships because this is kind of the history of it. You know, the other day, Adriana texted me and said, who was married to Kim Kardashian on the Raptors? And I said, Humphries. You know, you forget that Chris Humphries actually was married to Kim Kardashian when he played for the Raptors, guys. It's kind of crazy. Yeah, I think that she just likes people with the K names, Kanye and Chris. You know, she's all about the K and having Kim and Kanye or Kim and Chris. I think that most of the people she's dated have a name that start with K. I'm not going to lie, seriously. Oh, you brought up Terrence and Amber Rose also. Yeah, that was an interesting period of time for Terrence Ross. It was tumultuous. She was chaotic and not really a good thing for him. Bad distraction, having him around. And then, of course, she went and started dating his lookalike in the hip-hop world immediately after him and had a child with him. I forget that rapper's name. What is his name again? The guy who looks like Terrence Ross, who does songs about cannabis. I like him. His music's really, really good. And I actually really do enjoy the father of Amber Rose's child. What is his name again? It's slipping my mind. You guys write it in. You get some points for reminding me. A dunk for it. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Seymour saying Chris Kardashian was a good Raptor once. That was a weird period because she was coming to our games a lot. Kim Kardashian, when Chris was on our team. It's very interesting. Smooth saying Steve Francis looks very scary now, man. He has not aged well. I hear he's very overweight and he doesn't look good at all. Yeah, he really screwed up his career too. Like, he should have went to Vancouver. He could have saved that city, maybe saved that franchise, and he would have been a Canadian hero by now. But hindsight's 2020. This is why saying no and xenophobia is really not the best idea. Seriously, if something's foreign or weird to you, don't be like, I can't be around this because it's just too weird to me. Go towards it and try the new experience because it'll broaden your horizons and you'll be a better person for it. Seriously. You'll be a better person for it. And that's the cautionary tale for people like Steve Francis and Kenny Anderson, is you should have taken that risk and gone and tried and seen what it was. But no, you're in your ego, you're being an asshole. And well, in some ways, the things that work out for you in the end are what works out. Nobody talks about Steve Francis or Kenny Anderson at this point. No, they don't. They do not. That's right. That's right. Seymour saying he looked scary for the last 15 years. Yeah, alcohol is bad when you can't control it. It's true. It will destroy your body. It really will from the inside out. It's absolutely true. Trevor's saying, I know, but remember what God says, Seymour, don't handle your blessings. All praises to the man above. You know, everything is what it is. If we commit our own sins, our many sins here and there, well, it's up to us to ask for God for our forgiveness, and that we will be, abdicated and repudiated right. In that, you know, in some ways, we are all sinners. We're going to be doing sins of hate, sins of not liking somebody, sins of doing injustices. It's just about whether you're changing your behavior to be better. And also kind of like, you know, don't just do sins and say, oh, God's got me. God's got me. Don't worry. God's got me. I'm just going to continue to do sins over and over again. That's not being a Christian. That's not being truly Christ-like. No, you need to try and better your behavior if you are committing sins. That's part of it right there. That's right. Right there. Most saying, remember at times, Lex, you said you don't go to in-depth players' lives. I'm simpler, I guess, in reference to Brandon Ingram. You know why I don't normally do the players' lives, but he's put it all out there. That's the thing. He knew he was doing this. He wants me to talk about it. If it was something that was like private, like, Scotty doesn't want people talking about his baby mama, doesn't want people talking about Alyssa and his child, obviously, because he's not putting it all in front of us. Oshai, he'll have his fiance, Avery, and her pregnancy on blast. He wants us to know that. So it's more we can talk about that. Scotty revealed his pregnancy with Avery, not Avery, with Alyssa, very much right at the end, and just showed, and this is kind of it. And we still don't to this day know the sex of Scotty's child. I have no idea if Scotty has a boy or a girl right now. So it's really how much the player's controlling about what they're putting out. Now, if we find out things about them that we shouldn't know about and they're upset about it, yeah, I will respect them and I won't talk about it. Whether it's rumors or weird shit. There was some rumor about RJ was absolutely full of shit and crazy. And I was like, there's no reason to put that on blast. But Brandon is out publicly with Glorilla, and this is very much on purpose. And that is absolutely fair game for what I do on this channel, because he wants that out there. It's not anything negative about it. But I get what you're saying. I like to concentrate on basketball, but I'm also concentrating on the fact that Scotty Barnes likes Greek salads this week also. Let's go to the Instagram real quick. Toronto Tempo opened up their fan club yesterday. You guys can get access for $50 each to an event that's going to make you a specialized first inaugural Toronto Tempo fan club, and it gives you access to a special cheering section that they're going to have this fan club in. So if you're really that diehard and you want to be on the ground level with the Toronto Tempo fan club, you need to go and get in there right now. Limited spots, and you could say, as of today, if you go and get in there, I'm an original Toronto Tempo fan club member from very beginning. This is the time to do it if you want to do it. I say do it if you want. If you got the $50 to spend, you get on that wait list. You get you're not just on a wait list. You're on a list as the official Toronto Tempo fan, and that's a big deal right now because we're just getting into the start of this. That's right. Let's see who else we got on the Instagram. We got Jacoby out in the street making a funny face with a nice young lady with a nice smile. I think that's his sister there. Let's see who else we got. There's somebody posting that it's surreal to them to see all these guys that they train. This guy Eric saying all these guys are in the league. I had them all in middle school and high school. Cason Wallace and Jacoby Walter and other guys like that. He's really proud of that. Where in the world is Serge Ibaka? Well, he's in LA. He's at Crypto.com Arena. He's watching the Los Angeles Sparks play against the Los Angeles Sparks versus the Vegas Aces. So that's where Serge was last night. He was at WNBA action. Let's see. Siakam is still posting stories about him doing the pace car. He also did something with the PS43 Foundation. He is sending money to Grenada and computers, doing more of his great work with STEM, doing stuff for education and helping underprivileged people in different places get access to computers and different things like that. Siakam, you are a GROAT, an amazing person. He's on stage talking about it. They introduced him. Yeah, it's a really big deal. He's like doing it in the West Indies. He's not doing this in Africa or in Canada. He's over in Grenada, guys. Granted, he's in St. Vincent, I think, somewhere around there. Norman Powell's putting Jamaican basketball on blast, baby. And he's also talking about the practice of mindfulness and how it helps him in his game and the journey as a basketball player. You go, Norman Powell. You go. Andrew Jones has got Ava B. Hoopin. She's doing all the drills with the hopping over things. And Tuesday training is going on with Ava Jones, future WNBA player. I'm telling you, she's going to be there. She's going to be there one day. Also, his son, is out there on the ice skating, learning some hockey. So his son's out there getting that. And they're back at the bounce zone, running the course, getting that workout of running around, getting all the bouncing in. That's what's going on there. Let's see what else. Orlando Robinson basketball camp is going to be August the 7th through 8th, $150. It's in Las Vegas at the Tarkanian Basketball Academy. Of course, maybe I should stop covering Orlando since he is in Orlando now. He is a Magic player at this point. Or AJ Lawson posting the crowd from Raptors Basketball Academy last week, and him in the middle of all the kids adoring the Raptors legend from Brampton, AJ Lawson. And Hello Jack's got pictures from the Raptors Academy also. Jack Armstrong going in there too. Slim Duck's got all kinds of highlights from Pro-Am or some sort of pickup game that he's been playing in the last couple of days. Very, very cool to see Chris out there working hard And yeah, he's still wearing Raptors gear, guys. I'm telling you, I don't know what exactly is going on with Chris and his free agency, but he's still wearing a white Raptors shirt and a red Raptors headband. So he's still showing his loyalty. He's also got LeBron James in a podcast saying, stop trying to please everybody and do what makes you happy. That's the message from King James on Chris's thing. Gary Trent Jr. is at Remy in Hollywood, putting in that work with the runs there with other NBA players. So Gary is back in Hollywood, Florida. And is that Emmanuel Quickly in that clip with him? Yes, Emmanuel's working out with Gary Trent and Remy at Florida. There you go. Colin Murray Boyles is back at it, and he's shooting threes from the corner, it looks like, in his alma mater. There you go. Love to see it, Colin. Put those threes up. And for the Raptors this year, that's right. Savannah Hamilton and Ashley Docking, they're getting ready to record new episodes of Cinderella Stories, their podcast about women's sports around Canada. Of course, they're covering the Toronto Tempo. They're covering the Toronto Scepters. They're covering the Toronto women's soccer team, too. They're all about the women's sports. And Cinderella Stories is a great podcast to follow, guys. So go ahead and give them a follow. Let's see. Evan Gilliard's got more of his highlights from Calgary Surge stuff. He's been doing fantastic for them in the CBL. I love to see that. Lloyd posting a party in Greece that him and Scotty and Jonathan are at. It's a beautiful, beautiful party. Beautiful sunset. Just looks like a paradise on earth. Looks like a very, very quality party. So Lloyd, Scotty, and Jonathan are having some good R&R before they go to mini camp in Madrid, Spain with the Raptors starting on the 1st of August, guys. That's where the Raptors will be in the first week of August at the Real Madrid practice facility, practicing like they did last year in Spain. The whole team will be there with Coach Rajakovic starting in the beginning of August. Raptors mini camp, Madrid, Spain, 2025. There's Shed put in the work in the gym. He's doing an arm pull to get arm strength. But yeah, always good to see Sheddy putting his work on blast on his social media. And Jamal Shed, you're the best. Also, he's looking for a park in Austin, Texas to have a party. He wants to throw a takeover party where a bunch of his friends come to the park and they have a barbecue and they do all kinds of stuff. They're not sure what the date is exactly, but they're trying to figure out what is the best park in Austin, Texas to throw a takeover of Summer Jam. And that's what they're looking to do. Shed wants to do that with his friends. Raptors official is still putting out more of the weird NBA Paint logo apparel. I've seen a purple hoodie where it's like a hoodie with the little dumb cartoon that they're drawing on the shirts. It is what it is. Make some extra money, Raptors. We can have this goofy cartoon child drawing for a logo for a little while, and it'll always be historic, and we'll talk about it for this period, but let it go away at some point too, please. Let it go away at some point too. Jonathan's got this for us, guys, this morning. Jonathan Mobo has the Alpha and the Omega on his mind. He's saying, when Jesus spoke again to the people, he said, I'm the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. I love that. That's a word of wisdom and scripture from our forward number 2, Jonathan Mobo of the Toronto Raptors. There's your Instagram stories for today. Yeah, Greece is going off with Scotty and the entourage. They are having a good time over there. It looks like really, really good stuff. Wiz Khalifa. That is exactly right, Reggie. Wiz Khalifa is the name I was trying to remember. That is exactly who Amber Rose had a child with. Look at the trivia champions can go ahead and get a dunk. It's not trivia points, but it is a dunk. So good job reminding me Wiz Khalifa is the hip hop artist that I was trying to remember when I couldn't remember Amber Rose's baby daddy. And I appreciate you saying that. All right, Smooth is here. He's at 160 now. 160 on the dunk charts for Smooth for answering the question I asked there. Wiz Khalifa is exactly who I was talking about. That's right. Let's see. Kaz is saying, bring it on, Lex. It's going to be a great battle in WNBA fantasy. Good luck, man. Yeah, you're a very formidable opponent, and I'm enjoying this. I like having a good test, and you're definitely a good test. And I owe you one. You're 1-0 against me this year. My only loss is to you. Well, I want to rectify it, get it even, and then maybe we'll have a rubber match in the playoffs against each other to see who's better. But I got to win this one. I can't get ahead of things. I got to win this one first. Yeah, Shaq Lindsay saying, I just find it interesting from his perspective being a God-fearing American with his eyes wide open, not closed. Example, Stephen A. Smith. Who are you talking about exactly? I'm not totally sure. I mean, listen, there's a lot of hypocrisy in the MAGA world. They want to say that they're religious and they're Jesus followers, but their actions and their philosophies are anti-Jesus. ICE is not Jesus, okay? That's against what Jesus would want, what the ICE agents are doing to immigrants in the United States. A lot of the policies, incarceration, prisons for profits, none of this is Christ-like. None of this is in the eyes of God. This is antichrist. And that's the thing. These people are going to say that they're religious and they're doing things for Christ, but they're not. They're absolutely the opposite. And some people that aren't actually in organized religion, like myself, are way more Christ-like than the people that profess that they're Christ-like, because they're doing things that are evil and anti-Christ-like in the name of Christ. A lot of the anti-abortion movement is very anti-Christ. I'm serious, because they hurt women. It's very much about controlling women and telling women how to control their bodies. It's not pro-life. They should be called pro-death in some ways. Seriously, they would say the pro-abortion people are pro-death. That's not necessarily true. We want to save people's lives. Do you want women to have rapists babies? This is a really crazy situation in some ways. We're all about freedom of choice for the individual, and religious dogma should not be making the rules for everyone from the top. That's the way it should be right there. That's it right there. Kareem saying, wait, Kim Kardashian likes men with the name that starts with K? Be right back. Going to send a DM. All right, you're getting a dunk for that. And, well, I hope your wife is not hearing this, that you are interested in Kim Kardashian, Kareem. But, yeah, you have a K name. So I guess in some ways you would be on the list that's possible for Kim Kardashian. 191 on the dunk charts for Kareem. He's pure jokes. Pure jokes here. Reggie's saying this next. Kanye West is a crazy guy, man. I used to like his music. Now I can't listen to it. Yeah, I'm sad. He went to this whole kissing Trump's ass period in a very bad way. And in some ways, I want to separate the artist from the person and his art and his music and kind of his philosophies. And there's some things that he says that I'm like, wow, that's actually pretty astute and pretty interesting. But then there's knuckleheaded stuff too. So it's tough. It's tough with Kanye. It's a certain point where Kanye just kind of went off the rails, and it's just like, yeah, I can't respect you anymore. I wish I could. Yeah, he's an abhorrent guy, in my opinion. Yeah, he is. In some ways, he's an opportunist. He's not somebody who's like standing for right and wrong. He's an opportunist for himself, and that was evident by his pandering towards Donald Trump. That's part of it. Wayne saying Tracy was lured to Orlando with the goal of playing with Grant Hill. It never happened because of injury to Grant, and Tracy wasn't ready to carry a team. Yeah, that's true. Grant was going to be the pair up with Tracy, but Grant was already hurt pretty regularly, and Tracy was too at times too. It was like they never lined up exactly right. That's right. Adriana saying Greek salads are delicious. Yeah, she's doubling down with Scotty Barnes and saying, yeah, Scotty went to Greece this week, Adriana, and he tried a Greek salad for the first time, which is kind of crazy when you think, why wouldn't you go to Danforth and go to some Greek restaurants there and get a nice Greek salad there? You know, nice place like Pantheon or something like that. But no, Scotty had to go all the way to Greece to get a Greek salad and try the authentic Greek salad in Greece. And now he's like, this is my jam. He really loves Greek salad all of a sudden. James saying Kanye used to make great music early days. Yeah, I think that a lot of people would agree with this. And in some ways, I don't know, he's still a very important artist in some ways, but in some ways also he's kind of screwed his legacy up. He kind of has, yeah. Criscom's back. Good to see Criscom, the great Criscom. As I said earlier, MJ and Vince will have to speak about the Raps getting back into the playoffs, but they don't have anyone close to Barkley who's one of a kind. They could use a guy for jokes. Maybe. I mean, it'd be cool if they could steal Barkley. Like, that cast is so good for NBC. If they could get Barkley to come there, that would be just perfect. Although Barkley and Jordan have unresolved tension, and they're not totally cool with each other. That could actually add to the fun, honestly. Charles versus Michael in the middle of the thing. Maybe they could do a whole ESPN versus NBC thing and have some of the ESPN people like Shaq and Charles and Kenny come up in against Vince, Tracy, and Michael. You know, that would be interesting stuff. There's all kinds of possibilities. There are a really good broadcast people around this stuff, man. But you're right. There's no person in this world that's ever going to be like Charles Barkley ever again. And as much as they want to make Draymond Green the next Charles Barkley, he will not be. He's just not likable enough. And Charles Barkley is very likable. Draymond Green is not. And that's just the damn truth right there. Yeah. Let's see. Mo's saying breaking news. Shaden will play in the Toronto Pro-Am again. Team BGR8. Cool. Shaden Sharp is around Toronto playing the Pro-Am. Fantastic. That Pro-Am's just kind of gone right underneath my nose. I have not paid attention to it at all. I maybe should have, but I'm so busy. There's all so much to cover as the Raptor freak. And Toronto Pro-Am, I'm sorry. I apologize for not giving you good coverage in some ways. That's right. And Smooth saying, not my words, his. Not my words, his. He's an abhorrent guy, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. Adriana's saying maybe now he'll go to Danforth. Maybe. Yeah, maybe Scotty will frequent. Maybe he'll go to Taste of Danforth. Although, why would he go to Taste of Danforth in August when he could just be in Greece itself? This seems like what he's doing. It's so good to see you in the chat, Adriana. Most saying it's official. My nephew's going to try out for the 905 again. After all, he's about your height, Lex. He loves basketball. We're pushing him. That's awesome. So he's right around 6'4", 6'5". So cool. Yeah, he went last year. I remember you telling me about that. He's going to come back. Well, that's the thing. Don't give up on your dream. You've had another year to build skills, and hopefully he's gotten a better place. And I wish him all the luck in the world, Monique. It'd be awesome to have a personal connection to one of the Raptors 905 players this season because it's your nephew. That would be amazing. There's the cutoff. She's giving me a strong cutoff now, guys. So let me go ahead and wrap up all my tabs. They still have not given me any of the refs for the WNBA games. Oh, there they are. Phoenix at Indiana will have Angel Kent, Blanca Burns, and Gerda Gatling as their crew. Atlanta at Dallas, Randy Richardson with Angelica Suffren, Kelsey Reynolds. New York Liberty at Minnesota Lynx, Tierra Cruz, Ashley Gloss, and Claire Aubrey. Those are your ref crews for the WNBA games tonight. We're getting ready for WNBA referee reports because when the tempo comes, I will need to know who these referees are because I'm going to be taking stock of the records for the tempo underneath the different refs, just like I do for the Raptors, just like I do. Once again, if you guys are getting a cake this summer, a dessert for a party or an event, go get a McCain Deep and Delicious. It's a 100% Canadian cake. You support Canada, getting that McCain's Deep and Delicious cake, 10 out of 10 score on the Canada score. So do not fail to do that. That's good. Let's see if Raptors Reddit has anything interesting. There's that purple hoodie with the NBA paint logo right there. Some highlights from NBA run with Klay Thompson, Evan Mobley, Colin Murray Boyles playing with them also. Interesting. So he was with the Mobley brothers, Carter Bryant, Tari Eason, Spencer Dinwiddie, and Kessler Edwards, a couple other players there. Pretty interesting. Yeah, this guy here saying the Raptors are going to be better than Bulls. That's for damn sure. I hear that also. That's right. So, yeah, Raptors Reddit, you seem like you're okay today. Once again, nobody dissing Dwayne Casey. There's no reason to do that, honestly. There's no reason to do that. Happy birthday to former Raptor Carlos Arroyo. Carlos Arroyo is 46 as of today. The Puerto Rican legend, of course, started his NBA career with the Raptors. He, he went to high school in Thomasville, Georgia. I didn't even realize that. And also, did you guys know that Carlos Arroyo has a music career? He actually makes music, guys, and he has some singles out. So if you want to check out Carlos Arroyo's music career, you can go find him on music playlists and places online. So yeah, Carlos he does reggaeton, guys. That's the music he does. He does a mashup of salsa and reggaeton. So it's, very, very cool. He's got a bunch of singles. He's been making music since 2009, honestly. So it's like Spanish reggaeton is what he's doing. All right, let's see. Let's do the classic card of the day. Let's get that out right now. Yeah, boom goes the dynamite. All right, let's see who we get today. We are over time by 12 minutes. That's fine. Oh, this is a good one. Why not? Let's do this one, guys. All right, let's see. Wayne saying, Lexicon, you mentioned the cheese giving you issues in the Greek salad. Check it as bacon. Check if it has bacon bits as well. Then it could be greater issue than the cheese. No, I'm lactose intolerant. That's why. I don't do well with cheese on anything. If I do take any lactose, I have to take a pill to digest it correctly. It's not with the meat, the bacon. It's more about the feta. The feta will mess me up. All right, here you go. First person to get full name answer on this classic card of the day. This is pretty easy. And, well, we talked about this guy on the channel in recent weeks because of his comments on the current state of the NBA and the problems with what he sees with what's going on with the NBA. Ricky Rubio is easily done. Kareem Thomas, you got the classic card of the day. Adriana, I see Ricky Rubio down there before Fiercey. That's what I see on the chat today. Adriana can confirm if she wants to. Kaloy coming in with the third, Ricky Rubio. Of course, Ricky Rubio retired and left the NBA, but he is recently unretired, and he is going to play in Europe and continue his continue his basketball career. Yep, Kareem is confirmed by Adriana, the commissioner of trivia. So yeah, we'll go ahead and give Kareem Thomas. I believe that's just a 50-point card. That's a pretty easy card. He's very recognizable. And yeah, Kareem Thomas, you got 50 points added to your Raptor Freak trivia score as commissioned by the commissioner, Adriana. That's right. Let's see. Ricky Rubio is the card. Let me just write it in officially. Kareem Thomas, you got it, my guy. Let's see. 50 points. Boom goes the dynamite. All right, we're going to finish it up. Nice. I'm going to play the lotto tonight. There you go. And you can send some DMs to Kim, too, while you're at it. You're on a hot streak. See what you can do there, man. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Raptor Freak stream today. We're celebrating the news that Tracy McGrady is going to be added to the NBA on NBC panel, and he will be a part of the broadcast, which is fantastic. The Raptors cousins from Florida, Tracy and Vince, will be reunited together, and we'll have a great representation of our franchise on the brand new NBA broadcast. Vince Carter is Raptors, baby. That's just the damn truth. It's iconic. And well, Tracy with Vince on the Raptors is iconic in itself. So those guys in the synergy being together, there's so much Raptors to it. And you got to throw Michael Jordan into the mix too. Woo! I'm all about the revitalization of the NBA on NBC. I hope that it's just better than ever. And it brings all the best things about the original NBA on NBC back, along with the new slant, with the new blood and the new people involved. It's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be a huge success. I think that their broadcast crew is going to be the best beyond any of the other ones. And it's going to really tell. And I'm putting that down right now before blind. I'm going to say it right now. NBA on NBC is going to be the best broadcast crew out of all of them that are coming up. And I'm even including the inside the NBA guys coming from TNT to ESPN, Barkley and Shaq and all them. These guys are going to be very good because they're not going to be any nonsense. They're going to stick to the game, talk about the basketball, the X's and the O's, the flow in the game, the stuff that happens between the lines, and less of this incessant prattle that ESPN has made common on their networks with how they cover the NBA. So I'm very much looking forward to mature, grown-up, basketball-centric basketball coverage by NBC. And I applaud the matchup of having McGrady involved with Reggie Miller, Jamal Crawford, Grant Hill, Carmelo Anthony, Michael Jordan, and all the rest. It's a fantastic thing right there. That's right. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the Rap Freak stream. Tomorrow, Thursday Think Tank, we're going to talk about president of the Toronto Raptors possibility, Dwayne Casey, because this is a hot button topic right now. It's dividing some people in Raptors Nation on the opinion about whether Casey would be a good fit for this position for the Raptors going forward. And well, I want to hear y'all's opinions on it. So the phone lines will be open. You can call me. I'll put you on the air and we can talk about this openly. In fact, if there's somebody who's not very big on the idea about Casey being the president, I would love you to call me tomorrow because I want to hear your side of it fairly. I'm not going to come at you in a disrespectful way. I just want to talk to you about it and would want to see it from both sides. All right. I hope you'll join me then. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, and join the channel if you want. If you join the channel, like many have, you get some privileges for being on the channel. Trust me. All right. Let's go Raptors. Let's go Toronto Tempo. Let's go CBL. Let's go Team Canada basketball, women's and men's. Let's go Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Let's go great country of Canada, sovereign and free forever. Let's go Raptors. That's right, baby. Woo! Fuck you, Ed Rogers.